Welcome back, everyone. I would like to thank each and every one of you guys for providing huge support to the channel. I am truly grateful. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Today, we are diving into a new world where our protagonist becomes a part-time dragon and manages his full-time harem. On the eve of the year 2076, the boundary between reality and fantasy blurred as a game-like scenario descended upon the world. The arrival of countless perilous dungeons, teeming with hordes of monsters, marked the beginning of an unprecedented crisis. Powerful beings mercilessly decimated the human population, pushing humanity to the verge of extinction. Amidst the chaos, divine talents were bestowed upon select individuals, enabling them to awaken as formidable hunters. These hunters eventually turned the tide, rescuing the world from the monstrous onslaught and ushering in a new era where strength ruled supreme, and survival of the fittest became the undisputed law. Hunters were thus compelled to constantly enhance their abilities to maintain their positions in this newly established order. In their quest for dominance, these hunters ventured into the depths of various dungeons, confronting formidable bosses, securing treasures, and advancing their levels. This relentless pursuit of power and wealth signified the dawn of the era of global hunters. During this era, the establishment of the Hunter Square marked a significant development. This grandiose structure, renowned for its imposing height and the aura it radiated, presented a preliminary challenge to those who sought to embark on a pivotal journey within society. To gain entry, individuals were required to ascend 1,000 steps, a symbolic trial preceding the awakening of their hunter class. Successfully entering the Hunter Square allowed them the opportunity to awaken their potential and commence their path as esteemed members of the community. However, not every hunter hits the jackpot, and Su Yang is a perfect example. Walking down the grand staircase of the Hunter Square, he couldn't help but feel disappointed. He had hoped for a special or rare class, but ended up as a warrior, the most basic kind you can get. His stats weren't anything to brag about either, with his strength at 12 only, and both speed and spirit is at 10. When warriors like him doesn't have a great start, they often find themselves at a disadvantage in close quarters combat and face a higher risk of injury or death. Despite investing considerable time and effort into their training, warriors like Su Yang often feel their contributions are overshadowed by those with more specialized abilities. As Su Yang was trying to wrap his head around becoming a basic warrior, a useless shit who has nothing better to do than strut around with parasites on his back decided to approach Su Yang and start throwing shades at him. As he had heard how Su Yang had just awakened as a warrior, and that he should be happy since it is what he deserves. A nobody orphan who couldn't afford a clue, let alone a spot in any respectable guild basically, calling him the perfect candidate for grunt work. But Su Yang, having none of it, hits him with a quick clapback, literally clapping his hands like he's trying to catch a fly that ain't there, stopping Wang Fei from yapping. And then he pretended to congratulate him on becoming an ice mage, a class as rare as a good hair day for Wang Fei, while sneakily dicing how mages turn into glass cannons after their awakening. Strong in magic, but as sturdy as a wet paper bag in a fight, so if he's so courageous to provoke him, he should run them hands because he would gladly give him the smoke if he desperately wants to. But as Su Yang expected, Wang Fei can only muster up some weak threats while hiding behind his squad instead of squaring up to him like a man. And in the midst of an escalating standoff, the air was thick with anticipation as everyone braced for what seemed to be an inevitable clash. However, the dynamic shifted dramatically when one of the members of Wang Fei's group caught sight of something that instantly demanded everyone's attention. Turning their heads, the crowd was taken aback to find themselves in the presence of the Spirit Hunt Guild's raiding team. This wasn't just any guild, but an A-tier powerhouse known throughout East Spirit City for its formidable achievements and influence. The crowd's initial shock quickly morphed into excitement as they recognized Zhao Ming, the vice president of the Spirit Hunt Guild. Zhao Ming, a figure usually seen gracing the guild's posters and promotional material, stood there in the flesh, his presence commanding the space around him. Seizing the moment, Wang Fei stepped forward with a mix of eagerness and ambition. He approached the raiding team, full of praise for the Spirit Hunt Guild, and openly expressing his desire to become a part of their ranks. He didn't hold back in showcasing his rare Ice Mage profession, hoping to impress and secure a spot in the guild. Initially, his request was declined by another guild member of the Spirit Hunt Guild, stopping his advancement and redirected him to apply at their recruitment crew down the stairs. However, Zhao Ming respects the hustle that Wang Fei had just demonstrated, and the strategic advantage his control skill could bring to the guild. And so he decided to give Wang Fei a recruitment card. This gesture not only highlighted Wang Fei's potential value to the guild, but also served as a testament to the Spirit Hunt Guild's openness to scouting and embracing new talent. Witnessing this interaction, others in the vicinity were quick to jump on the bandwagon. They began voicing their own aspirations to join the Spirit Hunt Guild, each citing their unique professions and abilities in hopes of catching the raiding team's attention. However, the raiding team made it abundantly clear that their current mission was not centered on recruitment. They advised all hopefuls to follow the guild's official recruitment process, emphasizing that proper channels and procedures needed to be adhered to. Their response was delivered with the kind of efficiency and professionalism that left no room for further discussion or negotiation. But before they could leave, Su Yang asked if they are also interested about warriors. But he was only met with disdain, as if he just asked a stupid question and wasted their time to even consider talking to a warrior. This encounter, brief as it may have been, left a lasting impression on everyone present. It showcased the prestige and selectiveness of the Spirit Hunt Guild, while also highlighting the competitive nature of the world they inhabited. And for Su Yang, this was yet another reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. There was definitely an isolation treatment for warriors like him, and it seemed to garner no interest from the elite guild. In a world where strength and the rarity of one's profession determined one's future, Su Yang couldn't help but feel that his fate was already sealed, given the general reluctance of even lower-tier guilds to accept warriors. But as he was in deep thought, Su Yang overheard why the vice president of Spirit Hunt Guild was here in the first place, and it was because they are actually planning to raid the Black Dragon's lair today. And they are using the teleportation gate inside the Hunter Square to get to the entrance of the dungeon. This was a surprise to you, Su Yang, because the Black Dragon's lair is the largest S-tier dungeon in City C. It not only has numerous small monsters, but it is also filled with powerful elite creatures. Even though death in this world doesn't mean immediate demise, instead, one loses levels in experience until one level drops to 0. The heavy competition between top guild is at all-time high, so the risk of losing a level and rare equipment should really be considered. There is also the most terrifying boss that awaits in the Black Dragon's lair, the level 99 Black Flame Wings Athos. And Su Yang had heard that even the strongest S-rank guilds have fallen at its feet. But they say the Spirit Hunt Guild has a large number of hunters at 4th Transcendence or higher, and they've never failed a raid, so Su Yang assumed that maybe they really can do it. But thinking about what others will accomplish really bummed him out, thinking the harsh reality that he may be destined to be a pauper in this life, trampled under the feet of these powerful beings. But before despair could fully take hold of him, Su Yang was startled by a sudden notification, lifting his gaze. He was met with a system interface proclaiming him a perfect soul host, indicating that the part-time system would soon be bound to him. The revelation was astonishing, but nothing prepared him for what came next. A notification asked him to activate the role. Su Yang confirmed, yes. New notification popped confirming the initiation of jump. Upon reopening his eyes, Su Yang found himself transformed into the level 99 Black Dragon, Athos, Black Flame Wing. His new form boasted an incredible health pool of 5 million, alongside staggering strength, speed, and spirit values. He was even equipped with talents that seemed straight out of a legend. The dragon bloodline gave him an incredible advantage, making him nearly impervious to both physical and magical attacks with an 80% immunity. His innate mastery over the destructive black flames allowed him to unleash powerful fire-based attacks without any cost, dealing massive magical damage to his adversaries. Not to mention his dragon's suppression ability, which lowered the attributes of any creature below his level by 20%, giving him an overwhelming edge in battles. Moreover, his arsenal of skills was nothing short of awe-inspiring. The Dragon Blast could inflict damage equal to 300% of his strength, while his dragon's roar had the power to stun all beings within a 300-meter radius, with lower spirit values than his for 5 seconds. The dragon's eye skill granted him the ability to survey any area within his domain without needing direct line of sight, adding an element of omnipresence within his territory. The realization of his capabilities left Su-yang in a state of shock and disbelief. Unlike a typical level 99 player who might excel in one attribute, the Black Flame Dragon's attributes were off the charts, with over 3,000 in strength alone. Coupled with his resistances and unique skills, Su-yang felt an unparalleled sense of power coursing through him, a feeling so exhilarating that he couldn't help but release a mighty roar, a primal expression of his newfound might. Despite knowing that his transformation into Athos, the Black Dragon, was temporary, the thrill of experiencing such power was intoxicating. He understood that if he could leverage this power to defeat other players, the experience and strength gained could be transferred to his original body. This realization filled him with excitement and determination. Even if his original form was considered the least desirable among professions, this opportunity could catapult him to new heights, allowing him to level up rapidly and redefine his destiny in this world dominated by the strong. In the midst of his awe, however, Su-yang noticed the monsters in front of him were clearly affected by something. On closer inspection, he realized they were reeling from the after effects of his dragon roar skill, which he had unleashed unintentionally. Among them, a hooded figure stood out, addressing him as king and begging for mercy. It dawned on Su-yang that these monsters recognized him as their leader, presumably because he was currently embodying the Black Dragon, and so he acted what he assumed a superior being would do, looked down at his subordinates as inferior beings, and command them to rise as he no longer uses his roar. After that, the hooded monster praises him for having such power even at this early stage, and if he reaches maturity, he would undoubtedly crush the human world. With this, Su-yang was reminded that the dragon he possessed right now is just at the juvenile stage, and this is surprising since everyone knows that a boss in an instance have fixed level. But it seems like it wasn't the case for this Black Dragon, for its title suggested that he has a chance to gain level. This revelation piqued Su-yang's interest, but his attention soon shifted to a captivating sight, a beautiful elf imprisoned within a cage. Her elegant silver hair and striking crimson eyes contrasted sharply with her distressed state, struggling to breathe under the influence of Su-yang's dragon aura. When she noticed his gaze, she demanded her release, threatening retribution from the elven race. However, Su-yang was more fascinated than intimidated. Since the merging of the game world with reality, various mythical races had emerged, and elves, known for their seclusion within instances, were among them. Seeing an elf was rare, and Su-yang was captivated by the opportunity to interact with one firsthand. However, their conversation was cut short by the sudden ripple of a spatial disturbance, a sign that a player was about to enter the scene. The elf, interpreting this as the arrival of a savior, openly taunted the dragon, believing her freedom was imminent. She was taken aback when the dragon, whom she expected to ignore her jibes, turned its attention towards her. This unusual behavior puzzled her, as dragons typically disregarded such provocations. However, Su-yang had more pressing concerns than engaging in banter with the elf. He was aware that the Spirit Hunt Guild was on its way, and despite their reputation for unbeaten strategies, Su-yang doubted their ability to overcome him in his current formidable state. Still, he reminded himself not to underestimate his opponents. Overconfidence could lead to defeat, and the Spirit Hunt Guild wouldn't dare face him without a solid plan. To get a better understanding of the guild's approach, Su-yang activated his Dragon's Eye ability, allowing him to oversee the guild's movements from afar. He quickly spotted the guild's main assault team, led by Lei Shan, a level 99 Thunderstorm Master. Accompanying Lei Shan were the guild's elite members: Zhao Ming, a level 95 Storm Archer, Chen Yuan, a level 96 Healing Paladin, and Li Dan, the level 98 Holy Shield Master. They were all marching towards his lair with a single goal in mind: to defeat the Black Dragon Athos and elevate their guild's status to the 5th stage of transformation. Su-yang couldn't help but respect their boldness, yet he was curious to see how long their confidence would hold up against his minions. Thus, The guild's advance was soon challenged by a swarm of flying magic wyverns. But Lei Shan, who was completely unfazed by these lesser creatures, calmly ordered his tanks to lead the charge, while the rest of the guild used fire attacks to maximize their output, which his guild members followed thoroughly. And with this, they completely dispatched the wyverns effortlessly without halting their march. Meanwhile, Su Yang was duly impressed by the Spirit Hunt Guild's prowess and coordination, recognizing them as the formidable force they were known to be. Realizing that his lesser minions had barely made the guild break a sweat, Su Yang decided it was time to up the ante. He summoned a dragon warrior, a behemoth that towered over the battlefield, causing even the seasoned members of the Spirit Hunt Guild to freeze momentarily in awe and apprehension. Even Lei Shan wasn't an exception. He was momentarily taken aback by the dragon warrior's sudden appearance and impressive capabilities. Still, he quickly organized his guild for defense. The dragon warrior, matching even the guild's elite and strength, presented a new level of threat with its ability to teleport short distances, catching the guild off guard and nearly overwhelming their DPS units. In a critical moment, Li Dan activated his Divine Light Shield barrier, thwarting the dragon warrior's assault and protecting his fellow guild members. While Zhao Ming seized control in the chaos, ordering the ranged attackers to retreat and the melee fighters to engage, his strategic use of the Storm Arrow skill was pivotal, taking down the elite dragon warrior and demonstrating the guild's resilience and strategic flexibility in the face of unexpected challenges. Despite the Spirit Hunt Guild's success, Su Yang remained composed. This just proved to him that an elite monster of that level could definitely challenge the guild. But the elf, on the other hand, tried to mock him again for even attempting to send his lackeys to do his bidding just to die like that. Little did she knew, he had a few more of those elite for him to command. Completely surprising the elf yet again, as Su Yang released 6 more elite dragons into the fray, the guild faced an unprecedented situation. Scaring all the members of the guild, even their elite units didn't know what to do, as there were no records that the dragon would send units after them even before encountering it, so it was definitely a strange occurrence. Still, Lei Shan remained calm, because to him, they are all but just elite monsters, and he specialized on dealing with elites, and so with his leadership alone, he is confident that they could overcome this, and due to their trust and respect to their leader, the guild members steeled their resolve and listened. And Lei Shan then commanded to reform their ranks, prioritize healing the tanks, as they would maintain aggro until the battle ends. Combining this tactic with their raw power, they managed to overpower the new threats. Meanwhile, Su Yang watched and was surprised by the outcome. Initially, he thought that using elite monsters and catching them by surprise would be enough to drive them away. But it seems like it wasn't the case. They are more tenacious than he thought, but still, he can't really understand why they are so eager to challenge him. It was no doubt they are strong, but they aren't strong enough to defeat him yet, and even the elite monsters that he sent made them struggle, unless they have an unused cards that will turn the tides in their favor. But as he was in deep thought, he was surprised to notice that the guild had decided to go to the other direction. This was such an unexpected thing, as they are just few steps away before they meet him. This prompted him to assume that there must be some secrets hidden in the direction the guild was heading. Utilizing his dragon vision, he discovered they were heading towards the Dragon Slayer's tomb. Inside it, there was a glowing item that caught his attention. It was the Dragon Slayer's heart, a quest item capable of negating dragon talents. Following the threat this posed, a surge of rage overtook Su Yang, and his subordinates was startled yet again, asking him if he was okay. But he couldn't care less what they asked, as his mind was more preoccupied of the fact that what's happening right now is just like the strategies and what happens in games, where a boss with almost invincible resistance was weakened by the players through certain mechanism or items. And if that item allows player ignore his talent, then there is indeed a possibility that he will be defeated. But now that he knows this, he wouldn't just stand and wait for them to acquire this item. And so, with a powerful flap of his wing, he left his lair. The sight of him taking first really made the monsters rally in excitement. Their king taking action could only mean victory, so they cheered as he leaves. And even the elf was taken aback by this sudden change of attitude of the dragon, because the dragon usually waits for adventurers to get near his lair and never leaves early. and the way that it reacts was much more concerning, as if the dragon was in a rage, leaving the area with intense speed, breaking the sound barrier and creating a shockwave that even the ground collapsed. Meanwhile, as the Spirit Hunt Guild continued their march through the instance, Lei Shan expressed frustration at the unexpected challenges they had encountered since entering. This wasn't in the guide that were given to them. Hearing this, Zhao Ming speculated that the heavenly mechanism pavilion that gave them their guide might have deceived them. Lei Shan, however, remained confident in the pavilion's reputation and the authenticity of their strategy, especially when he had exchanged this strategy using his universe ring, which Zhao Ming understood, so he dropped the subject. But since there were too many uncertainties that happened in this raid, Qingmen raised concerns about potentially alerting the Black Dragon if they faced another unexpected situation. To which Lei Shan dismissed these worries, since the Black Dragon is just a boss in an instance with power, and it's complacent, as the guide had stated, it is but a lazy, overpowered lizard. As long as they don't initiate an attack, he is confident that it won't leave its lair, and they really shouldn't worry. This dragon is just a stepping stone for their guild, and now that it has caused so much damage to their guild, he promises to take it all back from it. Chen Yuan, on the other hand, was enticed by other things, because as long as they complete Elf Maiden's Easter egg, not only they can obtain a pass to the Elven Kingdom, but the Elf Maiden will also obey their commands, and Lei Shan quite understand the needs of his men. So he promises to have the authority with the elf, as long as they defeat the dragon first, but their planning was abruptly interrupted when Qian Yuan spotted a large silhouette in the sky. Initially, they mistaken it for a small flying dragon monster, which wasn't a threat by any means. But still, this was yet another unexpected thing to happen, because flying dragons are labeled as guard monsters. Therefore, there is no reason for them to appear here. But as soon as the silhouette got close, it also got larger, and now they wish it was just a simple guard monster. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't the case, as the true identity of the silhouette became apparent. It was the Wing of Black Flame, the boss they were supposed to confront later in their quest. Shock filled everyone's face, but one thing was in their mind. Those bastards from the Heavenly Pavilion had truly deceived them. Faced with the sudden appearance of the Black Dragon without the Dragon Slayer's heart, which they believed was essential for their victory, the guild contemplated retreat, and seeing them cower only made Su Yang smirk, as the supposedly invincible Spirit Hunt Guild was just a coward all along without their tricks. But even still, this was in favor for him, so he decided to eliminate them and level up in one go. However, Lei Shan's resolve hardened as he witnessed the dragon preparing to attack. And so, before the dragon could release his skill, he quickly used his lightning ability. Although it wasn't the most powerful attack, it successfully interrupted the dragon's assault. Li Shan then radiated a powerful aura of electricity, signaling his determination to confront the dragon head-on. And he firmly instructed his guild that retreat was not an option, as he believed in everyone's ability, and there is nothing they can achieve. Though this dragon is strong, his guild members are strong as well, so they should get back to their position and get ready to slay this dragon, and if that's not enough to convince them, he promised to reward them generously. May it be money, equipment, or women. There are no such thing as impossible after they overcome this. With this, Li Shan had gained back everyone's spirit, even though the dragon was still looking menacing as before. They believed in the captain's words, and now believed they could overcome everything. Meanwhile, Su Yang was equally excited on what this renowned guild may show him. As the confrontation with the formidable Dragon Atos escalated, Li Shan swiftly issued commands to bolster their defenses and offensive capabilities. He instructed Li Dan to activate the strongest defense barrier, and called upon the healers to support him with mana regeneration, aiming to sustain their position. Meanwhile, the support classes apply all single-target buffs on him and Xiaoming to maximize their output, as they just have to make an opening even for a little bit, because according to the guide, they are not far from the Dragon Slayer's tomb, so as long as they manage to open a fraction of a second of opportunity, there is still hope for them to defeat this dragon. However, their planning was abruptly cut short when Atos's tail crashed down among them, causing chaos and destruction. Since Su Yang was determined not to allow the guild any time to execute their plans, but to his surprise, amidst the settling debris and smoke, a light flicker and magic attacks came to his face soon after. It seems like the players were still alive, and it was all because of Li Dan, setting up his triple holy light barrier on the nick of time. It was uncharacteristic of a boss to make the move first, so they didn't expect this to happen. But since a boss can only use one skill at a time, they have the opportunity to retaliate, and therefore Qian Yuan invoked a divine blessing to enhance their holy light skills, while others follow suit with this. Lei Shan and Zhao Ming were enhanced with buffs, and has maximized their potential, preparing to unleash their full might against the dragon. Meanwhile, Su Yang acknowledged the execution power of an A+ level guild. They just got caught by surprise, but in an instant, they were able to ready themselves to counter, making it late for him to even dodge, and therefore he just focuses on the defense just in case. With that, the two had released their most devastating blows all at once, mixing all their most potent skills to make one highly concentrated attack to Athos, that its impact was visible far beyond the immediate battlefield, and Lei Shan was confident that they at least managed to lessen Athos's health by 5%, so he commanded his guild to prepare another attack. But to his surprise, as the smoke dissipates, he was in shock to see that the guild's most potent attacks barely scratched Athos, dealing a meager 10,000 damage. It wasn't even at 1%. Showing to them how powerful the dragon's reduction rate was. With this, the others were thinking of retreating, but Lei Shan urged his guild to persist, since the dragon's health hasn't dropped to 75%, so it won't release its skills anymore. Therefore, they still have a chance to distract it and get the artifact, and so they continued. However, Su Yang was growing impatient with the guild's tenacity. They are just like a swarm of mosquitoes now. Their attacks can't even damage him anymore. And what's worse is that they still seem to grasp on hope, but he can't just entertain them for this long. And so he decided to end their resistance with a devastating dragon roar that even the ground that he was standing on had crumbled. While the guild members received the full-on blast of its devastating power, they lay flat on the ground defeated. Only Athos remained standing proud, as it seems like even an A-level guild is not matched for him. In the aftermath of Athos's devastating dragon roar, Lei Shan, struggling to remain conscious, was confounded by the dragon's use of such a powerful skill. Unexpectedly, the guide had failed them once more, providing false hope and strategies. Despite this setback, Lei Shan's spirit was unbroken. He urged his guild members to regroup and launch another attack, clinging to the belief that Athos would be momentarily vulnerable after using its roar. But as he surveyed the battlefield, Lei Shan's heart sank, as his guild members was already incapacitated, sprawled helplessly across the ground. Even the guild's strongest fighters had been overwhelmed by Athos's formidable power. But what really broke his spirit was the dragon he thought was paralyzed was far from immobilized. Contrary to their guide's information, the dragon was on the move, ready to strike again. Without warning, Athos unleashed a dragon's breath, a skill even more destructive than what they had made, laying waste to what remained of their defenses. The breath's sheer force and intensity were beyond anything they had anticipated or could withstand, while Lei Shan could do nothing but curse at this damn dragon, and promised to return this favor 100 times more. After that, a system interface popped up. Since the intruders had been completely eliminated, the distribution of experience would now commence, and to his surprise, the amount of XP was overwhelming. But it was to be expected since he just eliminated a guild that consists of high-level players, ranging from level 80 to 99. In turn, leveling up won't stop, and he could even see that he is overflowing with experience. He accumulated 990,000 points that propelled him from level 1 to 20, reaching the level cap of the first transformation, and due to the experience, overflow 40% of it was lost. So currently, his remaining experience reserve is now at 430,000. But it's still huge, and this meant that his level can continue to skyrocket after he job change. He might even reach level 40 of the second transformation today. This is simply terrifying and exciting to him. Furthermore, he has 200 unallocated attribute points, so he was thinking of coming back to his original form as soon as possible. But before he could, Su Yang noticed the battlefield was littered with shimmering lights. A clear sign of equipment drops from the high-level players he had just defeated. Excited by the prospect of acquiring rare items, he eagerly collected them, expecting gold tier gear at most. However, to his astonishment, among the loot were items of even higher rarity. A diamond-tier longbow, accessory, and cloud flow boots, along with a platinum-tier staff and a flame greatsword. These finds exceeded his expectations, particularly the longbow, which he recognized as Zhao Ming's. The vice president of the Spirit Hunt Guild, Suyang, found amusement in the thought of Zhao Ming's reaction to losing such a prized item. Despite being a warrior and unable to use some of the equipment, he knew their value on the black market could net him a substantial profit. In addition to the weapons and armor, Suyang discovered a variety of potions and premium skill scrolls capable of boosting his abilities. But what excites him even more is that among these treasures was a broken boundless gem, an exceptional item that could remove level restrictions from equipment. This gem was particularly exciting for Suyang, as it would allow him to wield equipment like the platinum-tier greatsword, which typically required one to be level 79. This weapon was not only a perfect match for his warrior class, but also boasted incredible attributes, including an enchantment that added flame damage to his attacks and the ability to summon a flame giant, albeit with a one-day cooldown. This is such a strong weapon to have, so as soon as the system had notified Suyang that he could now return to his original form, he didn't hesitate to go back. Instantly, light enveloped Suyang's dragon form, and in the next moment, he found himself back in his human form. Surprisingly, right at home. He had expected to return to the location he was at before the transformation, but it appeared the system had a more convenient approach. But that's not really what matters. The most important thing is that he was now level 20, and what happened was not a dream. And with this, Suyang went straight ahead and allocate his points, putting 100 on strength and 50 each to speed and spirit. Although warriors usually don't add spirit with the advantage he has for receiving a system, he can't just follow the usual path, and he had obtained scrolls, which has a minimum required spirit for him to use. But to his surprise, the moment he confirmed the distribution of his points, an overwhelming aura burst forth from him. It was as if the very essence of his being had been supercharged, unleashing a wave of power that resonated throughout the room. This sudden manifestation of strength was so intense that it sent a shockwave through his belongings, leaving a trail of disarray in its wake. The experience served as a stark reminder of the raw power he now commanded, prompting a mental note to not to overdo it in the future. Now that was settled. The next thing he should do is to go to the temple to make a job change. But as he get a look at the time, he realized that it's already too late for him to do that today. So it seems like he has no choice but to rest for now, and just go to the temple tomorrow and take the transfer quest, which really excite him as he looks forward to complete his job change. Back at the Spirit Hunt Guild headquarters, the return of their leader so quickly stirred a wave of shock among the members. They understood that his early return signified one of two things. Either they had swiftly vanquished the dragon or faced a crushing defeat. The latter became apparent as they observed their leader's diminished state, noting the drop in his level from 99 to 90, a sight they had never before witnessed. The guild had always prided itself on its invincibility, bolstered by their strategies, and they also have the guide from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, so there was no chance that they could be defeated, but this just pissed the leader even more, and commanded them not to mention that backstabbing of a pavilion in front of his face ever again. He had traded his universe ring, but they just gave him a shit strategy that led them to their defeat. This is unforgivable, and his men had also taken an impact, especially his vice president, Zhao Ming, who not only had dropped his level to 86, but he has also lost his diamond tier weapon, which took a toll on a mental health. Even his priest is now having a tantrum as he had lost not only the boots, but the chance to have himself an elf girlfriend. With this turn of events, Li Shan's eyes sparked with the fury of thunder, a clear sign of the storm that was about to be unleashed as he vowed to seek retribution against the pavilion for their betrayal, and will not rest until he got answer from those deceiving shits. The next day had arrived, and the ancient orphanage was alive with activity. It was a scene unlike any typical day. Kids ran around playing, their laughter and shouts filling the air, while the adults were busy with their responsibilities, trying to keep everything under control. This particular day was far more chaotic than usual, because the orphanage received a surprising amount of deliveries. Piles of boxes and packages had arrived, addressed to the orphanage, which puzzled everyone, especially the elderly man in charge. He couldn't help but wonder if there had been some mistake, thinking perhaps these goods were meant for another place. However, the delivery staff were certain they were at the right location. They showed the paperwork, which clearly stated that these items were to be delivered to the Anshan orphanage, and the person who ordered them was a young man named Su Yang. This detail shocked the old caretaker. He knew Su Yang very well, and was aware that Su Yang didn't have much money. The caretaker couldn't figure out how Su Yang could afford to send so much to the orphanage. But as the caretaker was lost in his thoughts, his attention was suddenly drawn to a more pressing matter. His parental instincts kicked in when he saw a little girl playing dangerously close to a stack of crates. And just as he feared, these crates were tipped over, and the little girl was about to get crushed by it. But because he was old, he couldn't reach her in time, and all he could do was shout. Fortunately, just as the crates began to fall, a figure rushed forward with remarkable speed, and arms shot out, catching and stabilizing the crates in the nick of time, preventing them from crashing down on the little girl. The rescuer was none other than Su Yang, the same person who had sent all the deliveries. He had arrived just in time to save the day, and it seems like he is well loved by the kids in the orphanage, as they immediately rushed towards him the moment they recognized him. And seeing them lively like this put Su Yang's mind at ease, and the old man was equally excited to greet him. And it seems like Su Yang becomes so powerful, holding the crate like it was nothing, making the old man proud that he had already received a profession. Despite his joy, the caretaker's concern for Su Yang's well-being lingered. It was second nature for him to worry about the children he had raised, prompting him to advise Su Yang to remain cautious and prioritize his safety. Su Yang could only offer an awkward smile and response, fully aware that he was the monster that others should beware of. Nevertheless, Su Yang was touched by the caretaker's care and concern. Having grown up an orphan, he felt fortunate to have someone who looked out for him like a family member. Eager to ease the caretaker's worries, Su Yang reassured him that he had nothing to fear, since the monster are pretty obedient towards him, and they can't even hurt him, thanks to his considerable strength. And he's even going to the temple right now to change his professions. That's how strong he was, and this brought a momentary sense of relief to the old man. Shortly after his departure from the orphanage, Su Yang made his way to the profession change hall. Upon arrival, he was immediately caught up in the whirlwind of rumors swirling around the place. The hot topic of the day was the shocking news that the Spirit Hunt Guild had been completely decimated. This disastrous event was traced back to an issue with the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's branch, specifically a fault in the guide they had provided. Known for its meticulous and highly regarded raid groups, was now under scrutiny for a mistake that seemed out of character for such a prestigious organization. As Su Yang mingled among the crowd, absorbing the gossip, he pieced together valuable information. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion was not just any raid group. It was a top-tier organization, boasting numerous experts of the 5th tier. The implications were clear. If there were indeed flaws in their raid strategy, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion would soon take steps to rectify their mistake, likely leading them directly to Su Yang as their next challenge. But this just put a smile on his face, and the thought of going up against the members of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion didn't intimidate him. Instead, it sparked excitement at the prospect of the high-quality equipment he could potentially acquire from them. However, his trains of thought were disrupted yet again by the same fucker who can't mind his own damn business. It was Wang Fei and his group of nobodies. And with Wang Fei's usual arrogance, he questioned why Su Yang still keeps on appearing at the temple when his profession is nothing but trash. And before he could respond, he emphasized that was a rhetorical question, as Wang Fei was well aware why, and that no guild had wanted Su Yang, so he asked to come every day to try his luck. A fact he found amusing. But all jokes aside, since he was now in front of him, it is a good time to continue what they couldn't the day before. He was lucky he lets him off yesterday because of the guild business, but now that his schedule is free and had allocated his points and learned some skills, why not he demonstrate this newfound abilities and teach him a lesson for crossing him? But unfortunately for Wang Fei, even before he could release his skill, Su Yang decided to act first and cast Fist, letting Wang catch his hands with his face, and he smacked him so hard that he practically became a human pinball. And this attack of his knocked Wang Fei's HP down to 5%. nearly killing the dude. Also, this sent a strong message to his band of goons to not mess with him anymore. Because if they did, he is free to let them feel his hands like what he did to Wang Fei, a proposition they decidedly weren't keen on, prompting them to collect their homeboy, Wang Fei, and make a hasty retreat from the scene. And as they vanished to view, an applause from his rear caught Su Yang's attention. Turning towards it, he was met by the sight of a woman clad in black, her attire reminiscent of a nun's. Yet the slit in her dress that revealed her thighs suggested she was anything but a nun. Cheer up, guys, I think the first thick waifu just appeared. Look at those curves, I mean clothes. Shit. With this, it became immediately clear that she was a temple profession transition guide, a key staff member of the changing hall, and she is really impressed by the prowess Su Yang displayed, leading her to inquire if there was any way she could assist him, which what Su Yang exactly need. So he expressed his desire for a profession transition, a service she was perfectly positioned to provide. With a welcoming nod, she asked Su Yang to follow her to begin the transition process. During their walk, the guide couldn't help but notice Su Yang's appearance, which suggested he was a newcomer to the world of hunters. As they arrived at their destination, before them stood the transition god statue, an imposing figure carved from marble that dwarfed them in its grandeur. This statue wasn't just a piece of art, it was imbued with magic capable of detecting a person's profession and level, assigning them a transition task based on these criteria. Successfully completing this task was the key to undergoing a profession transition, a critical step for any hunter wishing to advance their skills and status. Speaking about transition tasks, these are categorized into 4 levels of difficulty, each designed to test the hunter's capabilities. Before Su Yang could begin, the temple guide offered some advice, suggesting he attempt a 3-star task. This recommendation piqued Su Yang's interest, leading him to question why not aim for a 4-star task. The guide explained that 4-star tasks are significantly more challenging. While it might seem a bit harsh, she pointed out that Su Yang's current profession as a warrior comes with its set of challenges, especially since these tasks demand completion solo. Furthermore, she emphasized that transition tasks are not just any ordinary challenges. They are commitments for life. Opting for a 4-star task comes with the risk of a lifelong inability to transition should he fail. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Su Yang decided to proceed, extending his arm towards the statue to discover his task. A flash of lightning filled the room, a sign that the statue was evaluating his eligibility. Once it confirmed he met the prerequisites, various transition tasks appeared before him, each with its own set of challenges and rewards. The 1-star transition task was straightforward, requiring him to defeat 10 level 20 ordinary sharp-toothed boars. Success would grant him the opportunity to choose between becoming a charge warrior or a defense warrior. Progressing to the 2-star task, the difficulty slightly increased, maintaining similar objectives, but with the added reward of a common-grade first-tier warrior skill book. The complexity further escalated with the 3-star task, which also promised a superior-grade first-tier warrior skill book, enriching Su Yang's arsenal. The 4-star task upped the ante, challenging him to undertake more daunting feats, but offering the prospect of transitioning into a bloodthirsty warlord, accompanied by a fine-grade first-tier warrior skill book. But the most notable of all is that there is option beyond what he was initially informed of. A daunting 5-star transition task. This task stood out with its unique, ominous background color, and looking at the information closely, it was indeed on a whole another level. It required him to venture into the perilous Cold Moon Forest, where he needed to kill 100 level 20 ordinary gray wolves, 10 level 20 elite savage wolves, and 1 level 20 boss-grade gray wolf. Furthermore, he was restricted from using any equipment or items obtained through gifts or trades, adding to the challenge's intensity. This is beyond overkill, but its rewards justified it, promising a special transition to the Path Demon Warrior, an additional 100 points of Spirit Attribute, an epic-grade first-tier Demon Warrior special skill, and the privilege of enjoying certain exclusive temple benefits. This revelation came as a shock to him, especially since he was initially informed that only 4-star tasks were available, and so he quickly turned around and confronted the nun about it. The nun promptly apologized for the oversight, explaining that the sheer difficulty of the 5-star task was the reason for it hadn't been mentioned. It was so difficult that not a single person in the Hua Kingdom has accepted this task for many years. Furthermore, with the advent of the transition era, the strength of each country's upper limit is determined by the transitioners. And so, rather than letting potential professionals remain stuck at level 20 forever due to a wrong choice, both the country and the temple advise against attempting the 5-star task in the hopes of cultivating more high-level professionals. Su-yang grasped the rationale behind this guidance. The 5-star task presented an extreme challenge. It requires him to take down a boss-level monster without any assistance or the use of equipment received as gifts or trades. Such daunting requirements explain why many opt to steer clear of this path. But still, the allure of gaining 100 spirit attribute points and the opportunity to transition into a demon warrior piqued Su-yang's interest, not to mention the mysterious temple privileges that accompanied the task. These factors solidified his decision to pursue this rigorous path. Meanwhile, the nun really tried her best to convince Su-yang to take the 3-star task. Unfortunately for her, he already made up his mind, and so Su-yang just thanked her for the advice, which made her happy. But even before she could finish her response, and the system chimed in, confirming Su-yang's acceptance of the 5-star challenge, her shock was palpable, her advice eclipsed by his audacity. And all she could do now is ask why the hell he would do such a thing, and Su-yang just confidently replied that it was all on his feelings. He felt that the 5-star task was more suitable for him, but before she could say anything more, Su-yang assured her that she doesn't need to worry about him failing, because he will definitely complete the task, and they should ready the temple since he is very curious about what the temple's privilege hold. I think I have a rough idea of temple privileges, and I think you guys too. Comment down now and let's see how many were correct. After that, he just walked away like a Chad and fade away from view. The nun, who was paralyzed by disbelief, soon snapped back to reality in panic, and then shouted at one of her co-workers, instructing them to report to the high priest that someone was foolish enough to dare accept a 5-star task. Upon his arrival at the transmission center, Su-yang was met with an unusual scene. A multitude of hunters idly gathered, not out of choice, but due to an unexpected energy fluctuation disrupting the portal's operation. This delay, a rare inconvenience at the center, had caught everyone off guard, including Su-yang. However, Su-yang, unlike many others, was not particularly perturbed by the holdup. He had no immediate rush to begin his journey to the Cold Moon Jungle, and decided to use the unexpected pause to better plan his trip. But not many shared his opinion. Among those affected by the delay was a city girl named Shu Yan, and she stood out from the crowd. Her distinct displeasure was noticeable. Coming from a large, bustling city, she was unaccustomed to and unprepared for the inefficiencies and problems of smaller towns. Her disappointment was compounded by the unwanted attention from local men, prompting her to caution her sister, Shu Qian, to stay close and avoid getting separated in the crowded space. I think she deserves the attention she is getting. Shu Qian, understanding her sister's concern, complied, but her attention soon shifted when she spotted a familiar figure among the crowd. It was Su-yang, calmly waiting in line for the portal, a sight that unexpectedly warmed her heart and brought a blush to her cheeks. But this moment of recognition did not go unnoticed by Shu Yan. She sensed her sister's sudden interest, and so she quickly inquired about the focus of her gaze, which flustered Zhu Qian immediately. But still, she tries her best to downplay her reaction by explaining that Su-yang was simply a classmate who had also changed professions the day before. But Shu Yan just found this odd because Su-yang is currently lining up for a portal leading to the notoriously dangerous Cold Moon Jungle, a destination ill-suited for novices. Concerned that Su-yang might be unaware of the risks, Shu Qian felt compelled to warn him against proceeding without adequate preparation. However, before they could act on their intentions, the portal's operations unexpectedly resumed, and Su-yang was swiftly transported to his destination, leaving Zhu Qian in a state of shock and worry for his safety. Unbeknownst to her, Su-yang stepped into the Cold Moon Jungle with confidence, and therefore quickly noticed the absence of other hunters. This solitude in such a dangerous area piqued his curiosity, suggesting that the other hunters had perhaps sensed the imminent danger and scattered, leaving him to face the jungle's threats alone. And his suspicions were confirmed when a monster launched an attack from behind. But Su-yang was fast in his feet and avoided the attack. But as he faced the creature head-on, he recognized it as a target from his quest. which he didn't expect to appear so soon. Since dealing with this kind of monster is really tricky if one relies on oneself alone without using trading prop and equipments, and as expected, the monster was fierce and fast, closing the distance instantly. Unfortunately for it, Su-young has tricks of his own, taking out his long, red, flaming sword and sliced that big, black monster like butter, and quickly cooked it right after, as its buff ability was on effect. This was such an unnecessary overkill, but Su-yang just wanted to use this sword at full power as fast as possible, since he had used a great amount of money in order for him to use it, all because this weapon doesn't have a gem slot to begin with. At first he thought he could use it right away since he got the gem which ignore level requirements, but without a slot, it was useless. So he has to use a high-level drilling stone to carve in one, but luck wasn't on his side when he was doing this, as it kept on failing again and again, which drained his wealth from 100 million to 60 million. Nonetheless, getting to use this weapon is lucky enough, so he just decided to look at the brighter side of things, and he still has the long bow that was owned by Zhao Ming. If he is able to sell this, then he will gain the money that he lost, and maybe Zhao Ming himself would buy this back, which is very funny if he thinks about it. But his financial concerns must be put aside for the moment, as Su-young found himself under attack from monsters once again. Fortunately, he didn't need to flee thanks to a silver-level scroll in his possession. This scroll activated a charging barrier around him, capable of absorbing up to 50,000 points of damage, effectively shielding him from the onslaught, and the low-level monsters have low IQ, so they keep on continuing to attack the barrier non-stop, unwittingly positioning themselves exactly where Su-yang had intended. With this, Su-yang unleashed a devastating swing of his sword, emitting a fiery whirlwind that swept through the monsters. This powerful attack allowed him to eliminate 15 wolves in a single stroke. However, his quest required him to vanquish 100 wolves, and he realized that hunting them down individually would prove to be a troublesome and time-consuming task. To streamline this process, Su-young pulled a monster attraction stone from his inventory. This unique item, usually dropped by low-level bosses, had the ability to lure both ordinary and elite monsters within a considerable radius directly to him. Recognizing the tactical advantage this presented, Su-young activated the stone by tossing it into the sky, where it shattered and unleashed its magic, and almost immediately, the gem's power was evident as wolves swarmed from all directions, surrounding Su-young, leaving Su-young with nowhere to run, but retreat was never an option. He considered he was determined to fulfill his quest objectives in a decisive manner. To achieve this, he consumed an intermediate spirit potion, boosting his spirit points significantly, and unfurled a special baptism of fire skill scroll. This scroll allowed him to unleash a devastating area of effect fire attack, enveloping him in a pillar of fire that incinerated any monster daring to approach. This maneuver allowed him to meet the requirement of slaying 100 wolves. But it seems like the attraction stone proved to very effective, as he had attracted all the monsters in the forest. But he is not worried for one bit, as he had numerous amounts of scrolls at his disposal, so he can easily respond in kind against this large number of monsters. Meanwhile, in a remote part of the Cold Moon jungle, a puzzled group of hunters roamed, perplexed by the eerie silence that had replaced the usual cacophony of monstrous growls. Accustomed to fending off aggressive creatures at every turn, their 2-kilometer journey without a single monster encounter raised alarms. The mystery deepened when one hunter recalled seeing a monster that, instead of attacking, fled in the opposite direction. An unheard-of behavior for the typically hostile inhabitants of the forest. Piecing together this odd behavior, the group's most seasoned hunter deduced that a monster attraction stone must be at play, drawing all the monsters to a single point and away from them. And this is such a selfish tactic, as this just wasted the opportunity of other hunters. With this, the group was determined to confront this shameless son of a that wants to get all the rewards for himself, and teach him a lesson that he won't ever forget. But they may have to postpone that thought, as a sudden immense power emerged from where they were headed. The attack was so strong that it had reached the skis above, and the shockwave of it can't be ignored either, as the trio had felt it even from a distance, which made them curse out loud, as this level of magic fluctuation was likely from a third-level magician. So it's safe to say that confrontation was no longer an option. With this, they decided to quit now, and just do something else, as they can just complete their task next time. Meanwhile, back in the desolate aftermath where Soo-young stood, the scene was markedly different from moments ago. The vast number of monsters that had swarmed him were now nowhere in sight. Not a single corpse remained, and the landscape around him was scorched, devoid of vegetation, extending for miles in every direction. This level of destruction marked the completion of 2/3 of his ambitious 5-star job transfer task, leaving only the formidable boss as the final hurdle. A sense of anticipation lit up Soo-young's face. Despite having to utilize several scrolls to get to this point, the task had proven less challenging than he'd initially thought. Based on the nun's reaction back at the temple now, with only the boss battle ahead, he wondered if this would be the challenge he had been seeking all along, and he eagerly made his way towards its lair. The destination was the Cold Moon Cave, known to be the dwelling of the fearsome Blue Wolf King, a challenge typically recommended for a team of 3 or more hunters all over level 20. With this, just a few blocks away, a group of 3 can be seen peeking through a corner. They are above level 20, and a well-rounded team at that. Among the trio was Zhang the Mage, Lee Sen, the tank, and Zhao the Archer. Each plays a crucial role in their planned confrontation with the boss, and Lee Sun was particularly confident since their brother Zhang had bought him a primary strength concoction which allows him to survive for a longer period of time. But Zhao the Archer, on the other hand, was skeptical about all of this, since he had just changed his profession recently and haven't tried his new skill yet, so he doesn't even know if they are strong or not. But Zhang couldn't have that, especially when he had prepared this much and he was more than motivated than the other two, because the Wolf King had a 100% chance to drop its crystal core, a prize that could forge a silver-level staff, which is enough for him to use until he reached level 40. And so he tries his best to make Zhao confident about himself, set aside his apprehensions, and focus on the potential rewards their victory could bring. But before he could even finish his speech, Zhao signaled him to stop as he noticed an unexpected figure approaching the cave. With this, all their eyes focus on the mysterious figure, and it was actually Soo-young confidently walking towards the boss lair, quickly alarming the group as they feared he might claim their target first. But upon closer inspection, they realized that this guy is quite young and was notably lacking any form of armor, suggesting he might be inexperienced or lost, and the tank guy asked if they should inform the kid about it. But the selfish Zhang quickly dismissed this idea with a scornful smack, believing his suggestion was stupid. As he thinks differently, he saw this as an opportunity to use the newbie as a bait for free, and while they wait for him to absorb the first wave of the boss skills, which they assume he couldn't even survive, they can go up and reap the benefits. With this, Lee San couldn't help but admire Zhang's cunningness. Unfortunately for them, it didn't go as they had planned, as the ground beneath them began to tremble. This unforeseen quake was the result of Soo-young's actions. His eradication of a significant number of wolves in the Cold Moon jungle had incited the rage of the Wolf King. Infuriated by the loss of its pack, the Wolf King's power surged by 30%. But as an onlooker, the trio remained clueless, unable to comprehend why the boss was enraged by the arrival of the newbie. With this, Zhang assumed that the newcomer had messed up their whole plan, and he wasn't about to let that slide, especially when there were spoils to be claimed. So he pops out of hiding, trying to rally his crew to move now before the boss dips out on them because of this mess. And he was convinced that the kid would get folded easily, so they have to get their ass up immediately. But before he could even get close, an intense gust of wind suddenly blew on his face, pulling his hood back and forcing his gaze forward, and he couldn't believe what he is witnessing right now. Even his crew were exactly the same expression as him. Turns out, the newbie they thought was going to get wrecked flipped the script entirely. As he took down the boss with one clean hit, light work no reaction type of shit. It wasn't even a fight! Now they realize not to judge a book by its cover, as the kid is one hell of a monster himself. Meanwhile, Soo-young remained stoic as it proved that the 5-star quest he was made to believe was hard, was nothing but child's play. After taking down the boss, Soo-young sifted through his loot with high hopes, only to be met with disappointment. The items dropped were mediocre at best, a far cry from the riches he'd amassed as a dragon. Among these, the Wolf King's crystal core stood out, not for its value to Soo-young, but for its sheer lack of appeal. Still, he was done with his quest, so there is that going for him. And so he decided to go back to the transfer hall. But before he could, Zhang completely heard his dismissive comments about the core, and so he tries his luck by asking Su Yang if he would be so kind to just give it to him. But little did he know, Su Yang had caught every word of his earlier disrespect and his plans to use him as mere bait, and therefore Su Yang confronts Zhang about this, and his shitty personality, because now that things didn't go as he pleased, he has the audacity to try befriend him and get what he wants. Well, too bad. Su Yang isn't a pushover that they can just step on. And so Su Yang shattered the core in front of Zhang's face, establishing dominance and a lesson not to mess with him ever again. And if he so wants to fight him right now, he would be glad to give him some smoke. And because Zhang was bitchmate, even though he was violated like that, he didn't do nothing and just let Su Yang walk away. At the same time, Zhang's crew can't believe what just happened as well, and they wish all of this was just a dream, because no one would even believe them that they encountered a damn rookie this strong who can kill a boss with one swing. A few moments later, Su Yang had successfully returned to the Hunter's Square, where he was met by the nun he had recently encountered. She initially thought he had come back with more questions, but Su Yang quickly set the record straight, informing her that he had completed his 5-star task and was ready for his job transfer. And only shock could be seen on her face. This was understandable since he took up a 5-star transfer task after all, and finishing at this rate is totally unheard of, which in turn made the nun skeptical. But as she checked out the receipts, it seems like Su Yang wasn't lying at all. Su Yang had indeed accomplished the task, and with this, the nun began to see him in a new light. This guy isn't a show-off nor an idiot after all. It turns out he was really powerful, so powerful that it made people wonder if he was cheating. But the system won't lie, and the fact that he returned uninjured speaks volume of his strength. As she continues to look at him intently, Su Yang felt increasingly uncomfortable, and so he snaps her out of it by inquiring whether he could now initiate his job transfer, which was successful, and so the nun led him to the statue once more. But as they made their way to the statue, the nun found herself increasingly preoccupied with thoughts of Su Yang's remarkable strength. She considered how advantageous it would be for her church to have someone of his caliber exclusively. Luckily, she had already informed the priest about Su Yang, reducing the risk of him being recruited by others. But as she continued to think about Su Yang, her thoughts took a more personal turn. She revealed to be down horrendous for real. Like damn, she a nun, but she down to get dirty with Su Yang since he is also pretty handsome, and she was even thinking of getting his contact information after this ordeal was over, and the thought of being with this guy is already driving her crazy. But these thoughts were momentarily set aside as they arrived at the statue, and not a moment wasted. As Su Yang stepped closer, and almost instantly, a burst of light shines above, and then several beams of light descended swiftly and penetrated him in succession, filling him with powerful energy. This spectacle signaled that he had successfully passed the test and was now prepared to undergo his profession change. And then immediately, a golden halo started to materialize around his wrist. This was a job halo, a special reward given to players who complete the job change tasks, and its color and the bonuses it provides vary according to the difficulty of the task completed. Starting from white for a 2% bonus, green for a 4% bonus, blue for a 6% bonus, purple for a 10% bonus, and then to orange for the highest tier, offering a staggering 25% bonus to basic attributes. This is beyond what he expected, and he could feel it. He had really grown significantly. Additionally, he also changes to a demon warrior class, a hybrid class, adept in both close combat physical skills and a broad range of magic abilities, enhancing his versatility and overall power. Furthermore, since he had completely changed his job, his level cap was elevated to 40, and the surplus of 400,000 experience points from his previous endeavors instantly boosted his level to 34. This significant jump provided him with 210 attribute points, which he swiftly allocated to enhance his strength and spirit to 90 each and his speed by 30. This strategic distribution of attributes, combined with his flaming sword, dramatically amplified his capabilities. Su Yang's strength surged to over 500, his spirit reached 300, and his speed climbed to 100, marking a substantial evolution from his initial state. But the blessings didn't end there, as he had also received the promised epic skill book specific to the demon warrior profession, in which contains an epic grade skill named Magic Blade, enabling him to forge a weapon out of condensed magical power, inflicting full magic damage, and the damage of it increases with his strength and mental attributes. This was such a great skill that Su-young didn't think twice to try it out, materializing a blade made out of mana and swung it. But to his surprise, the skill's capabilities exceeded his expectations, as the blade can be controlled through mere thought, and can even be transformed at will without being restricted by appearance. This adaptability made it invaluable for close-quarter combat and ranged attacks alike, and the most important thing about this skill is that it could be enlarged infinitely, and only limited by Su-young's mana reserves, which is equivalent to owning an heirloom weapon that couldn't be destroyed, showcasing remarkable cost efficiency. There was no doubt that it was indeed a 5-star job transfer mission. The distinction was clear, as the rewards far surpassed those of lesser tasks, and with this, Su-young resolved to pursue more 5-star challenges in future job changes, but his trains of thought were disrupted by the nun, congratulating him on his achievement, and from today on, his name will be engraved on the temple monument, and he will become a VIP guest of the Job Transfer Temple. But speaking of VIPs, Su-young went ahead and asks what the privileges were. My man got his priorities in order, eager to get all the benefits. But the nun was unsure of the details, and so she suggested waiting a moment while she sought clarification from her superiors. But it seems like there was no need for that, as another figure showed up to the scene, willing to explain everything regarding matters related to VIPs. And all I could say is, damn! I don't know about you or what the temple is cooking here, but I need to reincarnate now. I will definitely work damn hardest and become a pope that will spread the temple's words and… I am sorry my emotions just took over. I apologize. Dressed in an enchanting white gown, the newcomer was none other than Bai Ling, the senior priest of the transfer temple in Dangling City. Her arrival caused a stir, surprising even the nun. The position of senior priest is nearly equivalent to the highest authority within the temple, making her presence at this moment noteworthy. But the equally surprising thing that Su-young had accomplished was enough of a reason, and naturally, she had to receive such an important guest in person. But, with Bai Ling now present to address any inquiries and formalities, the nun's role was rendered unnecessary, prompting Bai Ling to politely dismiss her, which she understood. But deep down, she was crying her hearts out, as she had not yet acquired Su-young's contact information. Now that was settled, Bai Ling approached Su-young, extending her arm for a handshake. Simply puzzled by her gesture, Su-young hesitated until Bai Ling explained that it was simply the easiest way to transport him privately to the VIP room for a more detailed discussion. Trusting her intentions, Su-young grasped her hand, only to witness a magic circle envelop them, a precursor to their sudden teleportation. In an instant, they found themselves in a different section of the temple, revealing the handshake to be a sophisticated space transfer technique. Su-young marveled at the realization that a temple priest from a third-tier city possessed such advanced abilities. No wonder people say that the strength of the transfer temple is unimaginable. And as Su-young was thinking this, Bai Ling noticed Su-young's look of wonder and modestly downplayed her abilities. She mentioned that her skills weren't inherently powerful. Rather, they are just borrowed power from the temple's sacred statue, that's all to it. On the contrary, he is more surprising. According to the current records, there had never been a 5-star job changer in Dangling City. And even in the Tianling City, the last successful 5-star job transfer had occurred a decade prior. This surprised Su-young, since Tianling City is the superior city of Dangling, and its development level is several levels higher than that off Dangling. But only one of them had been able to complete a 5-star task in 10 years. So it seems like the value of completing this 5-star transfer task were far greater than he had initially perceived. And just as he had realized, Bai Ling began detailing the suite of benefits awarded to him by the Transfer Temple, in accordance with its long-standing traditions. Firstly, Su-young was to receive a generous monthly allowance of 10 million in the national currency, a substantial sum that underscored the value placed on his accomplishment. Secondly, he was granted a black gold status authentication from the X-Alliance, entitling him to a 20% discount on all purchases and transactions, a privilege that would undoubtedly make his adventures and endeavors both more efficient and cost-effective. I think there are some hidden ones they are not telling us about, but we will find out eventually. This revelation left Su Yang in awe of the temple's largesse, particularly as these benefits were seamlessly integrated with his ID, simplifying his access to these newly acquired privileges. However, Bai Ling had more surprises in store. She further explained that Su Yang's exceptional status also afforded him the opportunity to join any A-level guild within the city. But Su Yang, accustomed to operating solo, inquired Bai Ling if joining a guild was obligatory, which Bai Ling reassured him it wasn't a requirement, but strongly recommended considering it, as the collective resources and support a guild offers could significantly accelerate his growth and strength. An individual's ability is limited after all. Furthermore, joining a guild comes with added benefits like experience buffs, aura enhancements, and crucially, team protection, making it an attractive option over going it alone. And Su Yang understood this line of reasoning, and it is also true that a solo player can easily be targeted, especially those like him who had taken the spotlight. While confident in his abilities against a hunter of the same level, facing a significantly higher level hunter could pose real challenges, and having a guild would likely prevent that from ever happening. And he really needs any help that he could get. Since his aspirations extended far beyond the confines of Dangling City, he aimed to become a dominant figure across all realms, a prospect that puts a smile on Su Yang's face. Now that was decided. Su Yang asked Bai Ling what guilds are there to choose from, prompting her to reveal that there are currently only 2 A-level guilds in Dangling City, and based on various data, she recommended the Spirit Hunting Guild as the most suitable option for him. This suggestion landed awkwardly with Su Yang, considering his recent encounters with members of that guild, eager to explore alternatives. He prompted Bai Ling to introduce the other guild, leading to the mention of the Yu Yun Guild. Unlike the Spirit Hunting Guild, the Yu Yun Guild was known for its strength and discretion, competing closely, yet maintaining a low profile. But Su Yang doesn't care. He only wants to join any guild other than the Spirit Hunt Guild, so he chose Yun without much thought, which surprised and confused Bai Ling. But choosing this guild would be much more of an entertaining sight for her, and so proceeded to manage the membership formalities on his behalf, seamlessly integrating him into the Yu Yun Guild's ranks. But before Su Yang could depart, she very much liked to inform him that the Yu Yun Guild is composed entirely of women, completely catching my boy Su Yang off guard. Our boy has failed the mission successfully. He just took the first step toward making his harem, or you can say managing the harem. In the city of Tianling, the Phantom Cloud Guild stands out with its base resembling an opulent mansion, befitting its status as an A-level guild. And just like what had been stated before, the guild is exclusively comprised of women. Among them is Lin Yu Yu, a level 85 hunter and leader of the B-rank guild named after her, the Yu Yu Guild, and Lin Yu Yu often finds herself lamenting the lack of engaging activities. Meanwhile, Lin Yu Yan, wait a minute, Lin Yu Yu and the other is Lin Yu Yun. Why does it have to be confusing? I had to confirm twice just to make sure they have different names. I'll just call Lin Yu Yu Blackhead and Lin Yu Yan as a Redhead. Redhead is a formidable level 99 hunter and the leader of the A-rank Phantom Cloud Guild. She overhears the frustrated remarks of Blackhead, and so she pointed out that she is not even in her own guild. She is just freeloading every day at their place, so she doesn't have the right to complain. And since Blackhead is in the wrong, she humbles herself, but she can't just go back to her guild since she finds the responsibilities there overwhelmingly tedious. But before Redhead could respond, another familiar character had arrived at the scene, opening the door with such force and immediately responded to Blackhead that, even though Blackhead likes slacking, she can't just skip out on guild duties without notice, especially when it comes to welcoming new members. And this newcomer is none other than Zukian, who introduces herself as an ice elementalist. The head-turning lady and the cutie are here, guys. I bet the blonde cutie will be the first one to fall for him. While Blackhead finds Zukian's abilities satisfactory, she's particularly more interested in how cute Zukian looks, so she approves of her joining the guild, which surprises Zukian, but she barely gets a chance to respond as Redhead's reaction overtakes the conversation. As it seems like she was engrossed in some information displayed on a system window, Requesting Blackhead to inquire about the commotion, Redhead revealed that a male member had unexpectedly joined their guild, causing a stir among the guild members, all curious about the sudden new member. Blackhead found this peculiar, considering the Phantom Cloud Guild's policy of only accepting female members, and wondered if there might have been an error on the part of Redhead's subordinates. However, Redhead corrected her, stating that the Transcendence Temple directly assigned the new member after completing a 5-star task and being designated a VIP, giving him the privilege to join any A-rank guild of his choosing, leaving Redhead with no grounds to deny him. This revelation left the guild members in awe of the mysterious new member's achievements, but the question still remained. Why the hell didn't he choose to join the Spirit Hunters Guild instead? But Redhead is still the guild leader, so she maintains an open mind, refraining from jumping to conclusions without evidence. She proposed setting the speculation aside for the moment, intending to personally meet the mysterious Su Yang. Redhead was prepared to take action if he turned out to be troublesome or disrespectful, reassuring everyone that there would always be ways to remove him if necessary. Amidst this discussion, Shu Qian, recognizing Su Yang's name, expressed her astonishment, prompting Redhead to inquire if she knew him. Shu Qian shared that Su Yang was indeed a friend from Dangling City and had recently ascended, suggesting he should still be at level 1 just like her. This led Redhead to assume it was merely a coincidence in names, but before they could move on with the matters at hand. Another lady came barging through the door just like another girl. This girl was none other than Mu Rongshui, a level 95 hunter who is also a member of the Phantom Cloud Guild. Wow, these are all well-rounded girls. I mean, in terms of talents, no literally. She is here to confirm the shocking news that the Spirit Hunt Guild had indeed suffered a total defeat in the Black Dragon dungeon. Though the details of their mission were murky, the outcome was unmistakably a disaster. Mu Rongshui continued explaining that during the incident, Zhao Ming's weapon might have exploded during the raid, and when she checked the auction house, there was already a similar weapon called Storm's Call listed for auction. According to her, there was only one bidder for the weapon, which was likely from the Spirit Hunters Guild, and she asked others to guess what she did. The redhead replied, "You shouldn't raise the price too much?" With a cheeky smile on her face, and in response, Mu Rong had a proud smile on her face while explaining that she kept pushing the bid with other bidders and raised the price over 12 billion, which caused a heavy loss to Spirit Hunter Guild. The Blackhead also praised Mu Rong for this act. Damn, these girls are smart and cutthroat. I would stay clear of these crazy ladies. On the other side, in Spirit Hunters Guild, we see the Solar Express of Zhao Ming, who was literally crying and declared Ice Witch her sworn enemy. The leader also had a dark expression as he explained that he can't reach the seller through private messages and had paid 14 billion for the weapon, which was a huge hit for the guild. Wow! Our boy Su Yang must be super happy. He got the power as Black Dragon, money from selling all the overpriced gear, and soon will get the harem also. Lucky bastard. Qian Yuan guesses that the news about Zhao Ming's weapon explosion might have spread, which caused this pre-planned malicious bidding. Lei Shan kicked Zhao Ming on the butt and told him to quit his sulking attitude. As they all walked toward the exit, and Lei Shan mentioned they had successfully bought back all the lost equipment during the raid, and it's time to get back to the business. Zhao Ming was still rubbing his butt while trying to recover from the impact of that heavy kick. The scene then shifts to Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion headquarters, where the leader of the group, whose name is Zhou Tai, with 110 level and is a bloodthirsty warrior, was denying the claims of Lei Shan that their strategy had a flaw. He continued his explanation saying they have cleared the Black Dragon Fortress dungeon 5 times, and based on those raids, they came up with this strategy. He further explained that they meticulously verified every step, and there shouldn't be any issues if they followed the guide step by step. Lei Shan explained that they followed every step, but the behavior of the Black Dragon was completely different from the description in the strategy. He continued further saying that he is not questioning Zhou Tai's professionalism, but he is not a fool to sacrifice his guild's main force just to blackmail them. A hooded guy then called Lei Shan's guild members a bunch of useless people, as they had a clear strategy, yet still they lost, and now came back to demand money from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. This guy looked like a typical thug who is first to get beat up when the fight starts. He is a regular thug who is trying to act cool while juggling his dagger during his whole remark. We came to know that this guy's name is Liu Qi, and his level is 103. Lei Shan get offended by his remark and asked him to watch his words. In response, the thug teased Lei Shan to train harder or stop playing if he can't handle the defeat. At this point, even Zhou Tai got annoyed and cut him off by telling him to hold his tongue. Then he addressed Lei Shan and said that Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion has always placed utmost importance on integrity and will never sell any incorrect information. Therefore, he will arrange an exploration team to retrace the steps, and if they find any errors in the strategy, then they will bear all the losses incurred by Spirit Hunter Guild. If the strategy is correct, then it will mean that Spirit Hunter Guildmaster made a mistake somewhere, and it will not be their concern. And asked Lei Shan if that is acceptable to him, to which Lei Shan agreed. Then he proceeded to inform Zhang Kexin, who is a level 108, a 5-star holy healer, and Zhuang Zhen, who is a level 104, 5-star mountain barrier master, and Liu Qi, the typical thug, to investigate the dungeon with him and Lei Shan tomorrow. While all of them were agreeing to Zhou Tai's decision, the door of the room busted open and black smoke started rushing in. Lei Shan and Qian Yuan quickly took a defensive stance and readied their spells for the attack. Zhou Tai asked them to stay calm as the person barging in is Mr. Chen Lun from the headquarters of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Lei Shan was surprised that a big shot was here. We get a clear look of Chen Lun, who is level 115 and a 5-star necromancer. He said that Zhou Tai needs to inform him whenever he is going to the Black Dragon Fortress as per their previous conversation. Zhou Tai apologized and explained that they are going only as a part of their follow-up service, and he didn't want it to trouble him with such tiny matters. But Chen Lun cut him off and said he did not need an explanation and would go with them tomorrow. To which Zhou Tai agreed. Chen Lun was excited for the Black Dragon raid as he called his soul delicious, and every harvest made his treasure even stronger. He looks like an old pervert, and Zhou Tai fully agrees with me. Lei Shan was surprised that a team of 5-star professionals, plus an expert from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion headquarters, will do a raid and with that much power can easily clear up the 4th-rank dungeon. In case they kill the Black Dragon, it will work out fine, but if they get wiped out, they surely deserve it. Whether it's a genuine strategy or a fake one, with the heavy losses on his side, these self-righteous strategy groups should pay some price. He had an evil smile on his face just by the fact that the Black Dragon and exploration team will kill each other. The whole day passes and it's nighttime now. Our playboy Su Yang is lying defeated on the bed. He is annoyed by the continued buzzing of the chat channel and all the females talking about him. He is thankful that he blocked it quickly, otherwise he would be annoyed to death. Another notification gets his attention, which is from the auction house informing him about the continued bidding on the weapon. He wondered if both of the bidders might have a grudge against each other, as Ice Witch kept bidding 1 yuan up from Elf Noble. Eventually, the price reached 14 billion, which was 40% higher than average. He immediately confirmed the sale. He thanked Ice Witch for helping him raise the bid. The transaction was confirmed, and in the next notification, his temple benefits came into the clutch. As he was the Black Gold member, he was exempted from the auction fees and also received a 5% additional bonus on the auction price. He received a whooping 15 billion from this transaction, and his new balance came to 15 billion. He was quite satisfied with the transaction and wondered that he earned another billion just from 5% exemption, which was equal to 10% profit. He thought of taking a break and looking for a part-time job tomorrow. He wondered that after experiencing this pleasure, who would want to laboriously grind monsters like he did in the past? At 7 p.m., his part-time boss cooldown was complete and a 5-member team was challenging the dungeon. The notification asked him to confirm his transfer. The notification further explained that it is a renowned exploration team who are known as Dungeon Killers and has conquered numerous dungeons and made strategies based on them. He wondered why there were 5-star professionals above level 100. They should have already cleared this dungeon before, so this sudden visit must be related to Spirit Hunter's wipeout incident. Regardless of their intention, since they bought only 6 people, they must be extremely confident of their abilities, and he won't hold back. With a smile on his face, He confirmed the connection and started his second part-time challenge.
Please hit the like button so more people can enjoy this awesome story, and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Now let's get back to the story.
When he opened his eyes, all the elite monsters that died before were resurrected, and it was no surprise to Su Yang as he knew that the Black Dragon Fortress was just a diamond-level realm that gets refreshed like a game, and only the star-level or higher realms become non-replicable. While Su Yang was lost in these thoughts, the elf lady questioned him, saying, "What are you up to again?" But Su Yang ignored her question and thought that from the perspective of the Black Dragon, this elf looked like a beautiful pet. What a pet! Look at our boy wondering the right things. I also wonder how the dragon and a small little elf work out. You know what I am wondering about. Sorry, I get distracted easily, my bad. He wondered the reason for her abduction, and he thought the Black Dragon must have acted according to the established rules when he was not connected to the body. Maybe this dragon is also just a pervert. Or he wants a harem too. Well, I don't blame him. Who doesn't? Su Yang then used his skill to take a look at the raiding team. This confirmed his suspicion as Lei Shan from the Spirit Hunter Guild was also here in the team, which means they were here to clean up the previous mess, and he also complimented the after-sales services of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. As all raiding party members were 5th-level professionals, Su Yang thought that their combat power is much stronger than last time, but as long as they didn't get their hands on the Dragon Slayer's heart, they should not be able to cause him much harm. Just to be on the safe side, he thought of testing them and finding their weaknesses, as he should not be careless against level 5 professionals. He ordered 2 of his dragon warriors to take all the wyverns and go outside to deal with the intruders. They obeyed his command and started to leave, but Su Yang stopped one of them to stay behind. The scene shifted to the raiding team. They were swiftly dealing with all the monsters, but they hadn't come across any anomalies so far, and everything was matching the strategy so far. They thought that the Spirit Hunter Guild might have messed up on their own, deliberately looking for the trouble. The healer Zhang Kexin warned everyone to not be careless, and to keep up the defensive barriers until they take down the boss steadily. The random trash thug guy noticed a lot of dust from one direction, and wondered what that is. To his surprise, in the next moment, everyone felt the killing intent coming from the dust, and all the dragon warriors and wyverns jumped out of the dust cloud, screaming, "Kill them all! Leave no intruder alive," watching all the monsters coming at full speed. Lei Shan freaked out that he is going to meet the same fate again and screamed it was the same last time, but there are even more monsters now. While hiding behind Zhou Tai agreed that it was unexpected, but this level of threat still couldn't affect his exploration team. In an instant, the trash-talking thug jumped ahead and said he would draw the aggro of the elite monsters, and everyone can eliminate small fries in the meantime and then focus on the elites. I guess this fool has some skills after all. He is not just an idiot with a loud mouth. Everyone agreed and launched their flashy attacks and took care of all the monsters swiftly. After taking care of all the monsters, Zhou Tai ordered everyone to continue forward with the raid. After watching this massacre, Su Yang thought that they were truly worthy of being 5-rank experts. Their strength seemed like immortals descending to experience life. He noted that the mysterious-looking mage didn't even make a move during the attack. He decided to take care of the things by himself and took a flight, to which the elf girl was surprised and his underlings started cheering. Lord Atos is taking action again? Wait, why did I say, again? The underlying questioned himself. The other one added to the statement by asking, have you ever seen Atos take the initiative before? They answered, saying no, but this scene looked familiar to all of them. The elf girl questioned, how could this be? The dragon is acting ahead again. What was happening to the dragon, and it was not like this when she was captured? The scene shifted to Zhou Tai's team, where Lei Shan was praising the strategy team for their top-notch strength. He also added that the situation they just witnessed is not mentioned in the strategy guide. Zhou Tai agreed to the statement and promised to look into it after the raid ended. The creepy old necromancer mocked Lei Shan, saying that he can't handle even these small fries and still calls himself the Never Fail Guild. He laughed while adding all the corpses to his necromancer army. To this statement, Lei Shan replied by saying that maybe in Master Chen's eyes, his guild does not have noteworthy strength, but there is surely an issue in the strategy they provided, and as a leader of Sky Pavilion, he should take responsibility and speak fairly. This statement pissed the necromancer and like a cranky old man. With glowing eyes and creepy smile, he dared Lei Shan to say a couple more words and he would kill him and add him to his dead army collection. This scared the shit out of Lei Shan, but before the situation escalated, Zhu Tai came in between them and sled the necromancer to stop scaring the clients and calm down. Man, this old man is like a sketchy neighborhood drug dealer who sells you crappy products and threatens to kill you if you complain. Lei Shan wondered that for a moment he thought he was done for, and the old man was really going to kill him. Zhou Tai questioned the old guy, saying he should consider the consequences of his actions. If he kills Lei Shan, then how would they get more contracts in the future? Lei Shan was annoyed by all this and thought he should let him gloat for now, and he would see who would laugh after meeting the Black Dragon. While thinking this, he noticed a huge shadow and looked up. There he was. Black Dragon, he screamed. It's the Black Dragon. Guys, I think this guy is traumatized from the last meeting with the Black Dragon. The boss actually acted ahead of schedule. How is this possible? Zhou Tai wondered. Is this a bug? Spirit Hunter didn't deceive us. Everyone was shocked by the sudden appearance of the Black Dragon boss. In an instant, Zhou ordered everyone. He told Lao Zhuang to maintain the barrier, Lucy to be ready to transform at any moment, and the healer to prioritize healing Liu Si and keep his health at 30%. Everyone agreed and shouted understood. Zhou Tai activated his skill-frenzied blood song, which is a berserker talent that significantly increases all attributes when his health drops below 30%. It also reduces the amount of damage taken by the user. They landed multiple attacks in the next instant. Physical damage dealt 15,893. Physical damage dealt 14519. Shadow damage dealt 13774. Magic damage dealt 13343. Magic damage dealt 112678. To all these attacks, Su Yang wondered that something was off. Due to damage reduction skill, even the 5-star professionals can't deal him much damage. This Black Dragon has damage reduction buffs, keep chipping away, Zhou Tai shouted while dodging an attack. The hooded crappy thug was behind Zhou Tai and shouted that he saw the attack coming from miles away. This pissed off our boy Su Yang. I guess this guy has a unique quality to piss off everyone he speaks to. Can you guess what I'll do next? Su Yang instantly switched his target to the priest standing in the back line and launched himself with a dragon charge attack. But Zhou Tai blocked his attack, and Su Yang wondered if he wasted the opportunity to eliminate the support team. While the dragon's attack was blocked, the crappy thug took shadow form, which significantly increased the attack, speed, and critical hit ratio. All of his skills also increased the dark attribute damage. He yelled, "Taste my strike! All of your vulnerabilities are behind you," while jumping toward the back of the dragon. He started attacking frantically and dealt some physical and shadow damage. He used his most powerful skill called Shadow Stab, which can even take down small bosses in straight-tier instances with millions of HP. Yet he wondered why it was dealing so little damage to this dragon boss. Is the damage reduction of this boss, is this outrageous? Now it's your time to reveal your vulnerabilities. Go to hell! The dragon smashed the thug with his wing, which did major damage to the thug and left him only with 1% HP. He landed on the ground defeated, and everyone ran toward him wondering how many times his luck can save him. Zhou Tai was glad that he shielded the healer earlier and ordered him to heal the thug. But the dragon was not gonna let them just heal the dude. I think the thug really pissed him off. The healer looked at the dragon, and it was ready to launch the next attack. This move, could it be Breath of Annihilation? But isn't that supposed to be the transition ultimate skill that's used when health is below 70%? Why is it being used at the beginning? Our boy Su Yang is really abusing the major power-up and launching special skill attacks one after another. In the next instant, he launched the attack and the entire field was covered with fire. When he looked down to check the aftermath, to his surprise, everyone was alive and the thug was getting healed by the healer. He's still alive, but that move should be the last resort defense skill of the Barrier Master, which reduces damage taken by the allies inside the sanctuary by 90%, and it also restores the health continuously and lasts for 10 seconds with a cooldown of 360 seconds. The next breath of annihilation should finish them off, he wondered. Why isn't the boss following the usual pattern, and it seems to have gained some intelligence and stated understanding of tactics and exploiting the vulnerabilities? Everyone was wondering about the different behavior of the boss dragon. Zhoutai questioned that it's a stone-tier boss and its behavior patterns should be fixed. How could it suddenly grow a brain and start acting differently? The necromancer started floating in air, while calling everyone a useless trash, and stated in the end he had to take action himself. He started casting a large-level spell and summoned the bone dragon, Malthus. Looking at the summoned dragon, Su Yang remembered that necromancers are extremely rare occupations. It is usually said that high-level necromancers can even summon the creatures at a dungeon boss level. He questioned if the summoned dragon would have a comparable strength to him. While he was lost in thoughts, the necromancer commanded the summoned dragon to attack. In an instant, the bone dragon rushed toward the black dragon, and they locked claws with each other. The impact of the collisions causes shockwaves in the surroundings. Such immense power! Does this seemingly fragile bone dragon actually have such strength? Su Yang wondered. Su Yang threw the dragon back while yelling "Het lost!" The bone dragon was knocked back but instantly gained footing and launched a counterattack with Cloud Crop Inferno, a giant fire breath attack. Su Yang also responded with the Breath of Destruction, and a massive explosion covered the entire area in flames. Lishan was amazed to see that the bone dragon was actually countering the ultimate move of the black dragon. Zhoutai also added that the pervert old geezer is annoying, but his strength is real. Meanwhile, the dragons were still using the fire breath attacks and trying to overpower each other. Su Yang thought that the bone dragon's breath was powerful, but he himself is holding back for now. Then he put in some more strength in his attack and overpowered the bone dragon. The entire field was covered in fire and only the bones remained in the end. He started walking toward the necromancer, but something grabbed his feet. He looked down, and it was the bone dragon. It was resurrected after being destroyed from last attack. The necromancer geezer smiled and commanded Bone Dragon to keep raising and fighting back. The Bone Dragon launched multiple attacks, dealing physical damage, 5941 on 8, dealing magic damage, 17491, dealing magic damage, 119652, dealing magic damage, 80313. Multiple notifications popped indicating a major amount of damage to the black dragon. Its health was lowered to 81%. This damage is much higher than that of a class changer. This continues, I might lose. Su Yang wondered and took a flight back to catch his breath, while he was worried that the bone dragon would catch up with him and that he needed to recover soon. He looked at the dragon, which was still on the ground, looking at him. This guy can't fly. Su Yang figured it out. Geezer Necromancer commanded the bone dragon to continue attacking from the distance, and it launched multiple fire attacks at the black dragon. But our boy was able to easily dodge all those attacks because he can see them coming from a mile, literally. Su Yang looked at the necromancer and saw he was defenseless and prepared to attack him. The old geezer realized this and commanded the bone dragon to protect him. But the black dragon actually fooled him. He grabbed the bone dragon and threw him at the necromancer, which reduced his HP to 20%, and they landed on the ground, creating a large dust cloud. Su Yang was amazed that the necromancer still had 20% HP. He thought he was just a squishy mage and would die in a second. When Su Yang looked down, Zhuangzhen was managing the barrier and healing the geezer necromancer. Due to the sharing the pain skill, which shares half the damage taken by teammates, and also provides a 50% damage reduction. Everyone was still able to hold on somehow. Zhoutai was the main reason of their survival, as he was assisting everyone at the right time. Has Liu Qi not returned yet? The necromancer questioned. Why is he talking about the crappy thug guy who got wrecked in the last chapter? I almost forgot about the guy. Zhoutai replied that, according to his calculations, he would be here soon. Liu Qi? That assassin! I didn't even notice he'd been missing for a while. Su Yang realized the crappy thug was missing. Guess I wasn't the only one forgetting about him. Su Yang guessed that he might be gone to retrieve the heart of the dragon. Captain Liu Qi is back, Zhang Kexin shouted. That's great, Zhuangzhen said with a relieved expression, and Lishan also got his hopes up and thought they could win. But instead of Liu Qi, It was a subordinate of the Black Dragon who was running toward them. He shouted that he had accomplished his mission and presented Heart of the Dragon to Su Yang. Su Yang praised the Dragon Warrior for swiftly completing the task. Jotai was shocked by the realization that the only hope they had to defeat the Black Dragon was gone now. "How is this possible?" he muttered. Su Yang mocked Jotai for scheming and using low-hand tactics to win. He touched the heart, and a bright light surrounded him. A new notification popped. Detecting uncontrollable factors. Diamond Tier Secret Realm. Black Dragon Fortress. Level change imminent. The secret realm begins to rise to Starlight Tire. The scene changes to the city where people were shocked and wondering if there was an earthquake due to the intense vibrations. The MILF priestess questioned the master priest that there was an unusual surge in spiritual energy and what could be the cause of that. The head MILF Bai Ling explained that she is sensing a powerful aura emerging from a hidden realm. She explained further that she never expected it to affect the real world. She was afraid that something big was about to happen in this world. I guess she is right. Something big and black is coming for them. I mean, coming for Jotai. Shit. Everybody was shocked. Star level? How could this happen? Lashan said with a pale face. I never heard of a hidden realm upgrading like this before, Zhuangjun added. Jotai was too shocked by the current situation and kept looking at the Black Dragon. With the realm upgrade, Su Yang's Black Dragon also leveled up. He reached level 100 and all his attributes increased. He also unlocked a new skill Starshine. Su Yang opened his status window which showed that he is now an early growth stage Black Dragon with level 100. The new skill he unlocked was Spirit Town's Purifying Inferno Prison. It conjures up an infernal prison with incredibly potent black flames. It annihilates anyone who tries to resist and deals 1000% strength attribute magical damage. It has an additional effect that destroys the souls of professionals who get killed by it. He can also choose to destroy the soul or not. Su Yang was amazed by all these new developments. The new notification informed him that the advancement was due to him obtaining the Dragon Slayer's heart. Su Yang wondered if the Black Dragon was supposed to be at Starshine level strength from the beginning. The only reason holding the realm back was the presence of the Dragon Slayer's heart, which was the weakness of the Black Dragon. Now that he has the Dragon Slayer heart, the difficulty naturally increases. Su Yang was still wondering about the meaning of the early growth stage title while looking at the Dragon Slayer heart in his hand. He also realized that the situation is changed now. They won't be able to defeat him as he evolved and got more powerful. While he was lost in his thoughts, he heard the footsteps of someone approaching toward the battlefield. Surely it was the crappy thug who has successfully failed his mission. While still running toward Jotai, he shouted that he searched the tomb but couldn't find the heart. He looked toward the Black Dragon and it was holding the heart. Noticing this, the thug instantly changed his direction and started running toward the Black Dragon. Jotai tried to stop him and shouted not to act on his own and to come back. He wondered why this idiot didn't notice the system notification earlier. The stupid thug ignored his warning and boasted that the stupid bidfool dragon can't possibly keep up with his speed. See, I told you guys last time that this guy is going to die first. I could clearly see a dead thug written on his face. In an instant, the dragon lifted his front paw and smashed the thug into a pulp. The notification announced his death to all the team members. Lei Shan asked Jotai what should they do now. He responded by saying that usually, Starshine tier realm bosses require a team of 10 to 25-star players to defeat them. With the number of people they have now, there's no hope of winning at all. According to him, there was only one option available. After saying this, he started running back toward the entrance of the dungeon with full speed. Watching this, the geezer necromancer questioned him, saying that he shouldn't run at this critical moment. He ignores the geezer and replies that it's foolish to fight under these circumstances. Looking at Jotai running back, Su Yang praised him for making a wise decision, but he was not planning to let anyone leave alive. While everyone running toward the portal, the dragon dashed past them and stood in front of the portal, blocking the only escape route the team had. Seeing the Black Dragon in front, Jotai ordered everyone to stack all the defensive buffs and charge in with all their might. He wanted to make it out alive. the Black Dragon used Annihilation Breath. It was a massive breath, and it left the whole team in shambles. Everyone was lying on the ground, and Jotai was barely standing with the help of his axe. The attack instantly shattered the barrier, and everyone's mana and health were at the lowest points, and they would not be able to handle the next attack. Jotai recommended everyone to put their valuable items in the Infinite Ring to prevent losses, as he announced that there is no hope for escape. At this remark, the old necromancer geezer was not happy, and replied saying that he will not give up as he had already killed the Black Dragon thousands of times before. He stated that he knew all of his abilities like the back of his hand, and even if I has advanced to Starshine level, he will kill it once more. He was surrounded by an ominous green mist while casting his spell, and in the next moment when he raised his staff, thousands of undead creatures were standing behind him. It was a skill that raised all the dead creatures with infinite duration, but it will continuously consume his health and mana. He commanded his army to attack, and all the creatures rushed toward Su Yang. But our Giga Chad boy Su Yang is on a totally different level now. He shouted, "Die you worthless trash," and attacked with his tail to take care of all the low-level monsters. The Bone Dragon launched its flame attack, but Su Yang laughed it off, saying that it couldn't even scratch his skin. He punched Bone Dragon to the ground and held his broken skull while looking at the necromancer. The old geezer mocked Black Dragon, saying that transmigrators are immortal, and even if he fails this time, he will keep coming back again to torment him until he devoured his soul completely. He added that it's too bad that Starshine dungeons can't be repeated, and he wanted to kill him a couple more times. Our boy got annoyed by this statement and said, since it had come to this point, how could he let them leave this easily? He took a flight to the sky and used his new skill. There was a big bowl of fire in the area. Everyone was burning and screaming in the fire, and the necromancer replied that he will make the dragon taste this pain 100 times more. There won't be next time, the dragon replied. The necromancer was shocked with this answer and noticed his HP had reached 0, but the transfer hadn't started. His body was decomposing and falling apart. You have no chance of resurrection anymore. Disappear, Su Yang mocked the necromancer. Multiple notification windows popped. You killed level 110 bloodthirsty warrior Jotai. Gained experience +2198763. You killed level 110 bloodthirsty warrior Jotai. Gained experience +221986763. You killed level 108 healing priest Jung Hexen. Gained experience 1986123. You killed level 104 mountain barrier master Zhuang Zhen. Gained experience 1577633. You killed level 103 Shadow Hunter Liu Qi. Gained experience 1662321. You have completely killed level 115 Necromancer Chen Lun. Gained experience 2546198. Total experience gained 9.91 million. Su Yang's level rose from 34 to 40, and he reached the limit of pre-transformation level. Due to experience overflow, 40% of experience is lost, and the remaining experience was 5.99 million. With this, the chapter ends here. Our boy has made some major leaps and already reached level 40. Let's see what happens on his first day in the guild. Jotai was sitting in the room holding his head, probably reflection upon the beating they just recently received. Nobody was uttering a single word, and there was a dead silence in the room. To everyone's surprise, somebody came rushing in while yelling, "I am back!" It was the healer, Zhang Kexen. Any news from the Master Chen? Jotai asked the healer. None, he replied. He told everyone that all the information about the necromancer, Master Chen, was disappeared from the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. This means only two things. First, that someone deliberately erased the information, or he was dead. This revelation shocked everyone, and a chill ran down their spine. Jotai started wondering that how can the Black Dragon ignore the level protection mechanism and erased Master Chen? He wondered what kind of monster that Black Dragon is. With shaking body and a weak voice, he told everyone that this is no longer a problem that they can solve on their own. He decided to compensate Lishan's guild for their losses and leave the rest to the headquarters for decision-making. He wondered that only the geezer necromancer was killed, so there might be a special mechanism. Or did the boss dragon kill him intentionally and let the rest of them go? The scene then changes to our boy Soo Young. He was sitting on the sofa exhausted. He was drinking some cola to relax himself. He exclaimed that he was so tired because the level in the exploration group was beyond the spirit hunter. It took him so much effort just to defeat them. But it was worth it because the hard work paid off in the form of high-level loot. All the weapons he received were really rare, which shows that these guild are incredibly rich. The loot included some scrolls, potions, and some diamond and star blessing tier equipment. The most valuable thing according to the Soo Yang was the Starforge tier dagger that the crappy thug dropped. Its name was Shadow's Bloodthirst. He read the description, which explained that it was the pinnacle of assassination from the Abyss of Shadows. It claimed the lives of countless beings. It doesn't have any level restrictions, and it provided plus 180 agility and full 400 strength to the user. It has two abilities. The first one was named Shadow's Body. It consumed mana to achieve a short-term invisibility effect and gain 50% speed boost to the user. The second was Compassion Mark. It consumes mana to mark the target, launch an attack without being noticed, and deal 300% increased damage to the target. The next item was Legendary Skill Scroll. It had 5 charges, which can be activated unconditionally, a 5-stage skill known as Storm Snow 4000 Blades. Soo Yang was super happy at his luck because last time he got a Diamond tier weapon, and this time he got a Starlight tier weapon that he can wield without any problem. And the scroll is also super powerful as it can kill a 4-stage transformation in an instant on top of it. It doesn't have any usage restrictions. Due to the experience he got from his recent massacre, his level is now 40, and he is now eligible for second transformation. He wondered if the geezer necromancer was truly dead and won't resurrect again. The system responded saying yes, that the geezer mega was completely eradicated by him. The system further informed that his decision was correct, and according to the system analysis, the necromancer had a high probability of killing Soo Young after obtaining the dragon heart. The system further warned Soo Young that if he was killed by others transformators while in the dragon boss form, he will die immediately. After hearing this, Soo Young thought it was a right decision to kill the geezer. He further thought that if he was not smart, he might have been died by now. But with this event, the adventurers will not dare to challenge him recklessly now. Soo Young then remembered that Starlight tier bosses were called true spirit creatures who has their own consciousness. He wondered what happens to the Bok Dragon's conscience when he uses its body. The system instantly answered, saying that the chosen boss will have its consciousness wiped when Lufan is in the body, regardless of the level of the boss. And when Soo Young is not connected, the boss will act normally according to rules set by the system. Moreover, if Lufan kills the dragon boss, the system will then find a new higher level boss, which will have event stronger capabilities than the previous boss. Soo Yang then took out the heart of the dragon, which was required to kill the dragon boss successfully. He was happy that if he wants to kill the black dragon, he has the essential item, and everything is falling into right places. The notification window then informed that the layered dragon's heart was from unknown tier. It has many effects like 50% spirit boost and 100% strength boost. The other feature include Radiance of the Dragon Slayer, which ignores the giant dragon's racial talents and increases the damage done to the dragon by 500%. It also had the ability to summon the blood soul of Ancient Hero, which can aid the player during the battle with the black dragon. The unlocking condition for this equipment was to kill the giant dragon alone. Currently, the amulet does not have any charges, as no dragon was killed by our boy Soo Young. Reading the information, Soo Young wondered that the blood soul of the heroic spirit skill most likely referred to the hero who slayed the dragon. He thought that someone who can be given the title of a dragon-slaying hero is definitely a person with super strong combat power. This hero will definitely be much more powerful than a 5th-level professional. He chuckled, saying that with this super little brother, who is he afraid of? As his next goal, he declared that he will kill the black dragon and change part-time job title to unlock all the summons. This will be his goal for the next stage. He then opened the apartment door and went out, saying that it's time to go and accept the second transformation mission. The scene then changes to a new location, where our half-naked MILF priestess, where our beautiful waifu priestess was waiting for someone. People around her were wondering, that is she the temple priestess, and is she waiting for someone? They were questioning who has the status to make the temple priestess date at the door. Of course, they don't know about our Giga Chad boy Su Yang. If they knew, they would not be talking this trash. They were feeling envious, and they wanted a beauty like her to wait for them also. The priestess then opened her eyes and said, blessing of the statue. "Excuse me, brave sir, how can I assist you?" To these words, Su Yang was speechless and dumbfounded. He questioned, "Brave sir? And how do you know I was coming?" The head priestess explained that just now, the transformation statue emitted a guiding light, which was the signal that a VIP of the temple was about to arrive, and in the entire East Spirit City, there was only one VIP, which was Su Yang, and for the address, it was temple requirement. She urged him to don't mind. Su Yang smiled awkwardly and thought it was so edgy. Our well-rounded bai for priestess was also feeling awkward by following these weird specific rituals set by the temple. I want to find out what other weird rituals they have, and you know what I'm talking about. I promise that she won't feel this weird following all the other hidden rituals. Maybe they are all performed in the private area, somewhere hidden from regular people. Inside the temple, Su Yang then accepted the 5-star transformation task. The requirements to clear this task were to solo clear 2 silver tier instances and killing the final boss within 3 minutes of encountering it. To this requirement, Su Yang thought the same level instances usually required teaming up, but this task required a solar run is putting obstacles in plain sight. But for Su Yang, it was almost the same as no conditions. He had a smile on his face as he knew he can easily clear the task. Watching Su Yang accepting other 5-star mission, the priestess praised him and said that he is truly worthy of being called a brave man. Su Yang then asked the head priestess that it was nothing major, and he requested if she can provide him with the map of Silver Tier instance near East Spirit City. The priestess asked Su Yang to wait for a moment, and then she handed the map, which included all the information about Silver Tier and other information such as refresh locations and times of Bronze and Gold Tier dungeons. He thanked the priestess and got ready to leave, but before he can leave, the priestess asked him to wait for a moment. She informed him that not long ago, a terrible incident occurred in a dungeon. The difficulty of the dungeon suddenly increased, and it also resulted in a death of a professional. She continued her explanation, saying that the low-level wilderness areas have been crowded due to this accident, and now they often result in bloody conflicts due to competition for dungeons. She warned him to be extra careful. To this reminder, Su Yang thanked her and told her that he will be careful. He thought with so many low-level dungeons around the East Spirit City, he should be able to find 2 silver tier ones. Then the scene shifted to a dungeon, or somebody was already in the dungeon and he could not read it. A lot of people were standing in front of it and waiting for their turn to enter. He visited many other dungeons, and it was the same for all of them. By the end of the day, he was fully tired and exhausted due to all this running around and not being able to enter any dungeon. He said that after running 7 or 8 dungeons in a row, they were all taken by someone else. He was feeling that this was too unlucky, and he thought that it could be because he have been too lucky picking up all the equipment recently, and triggered the law of conservation of luck. In the next scene, he was looking at the map which was provided by the priestess, and he was trying to find the entrance to the Cave of Suffering. He noticed that there were a lot of people waiting in front of this dungeon as well. Upon looking closely, he recognized a familiar face. It was Gusuekian. He wondered what she was doing here. She was trying to defend herself from a douchebag, saying that she arrived first at the dungeon, and she does not want the douchebag to snatch it from her. Su Yang also recognized the useless shit Wang Fei. Wang Fei, being a stupid shit that he is, was trying to take the dungeon away from Gusuekian. He said that this dungeon doesn't have Phantom Cloud written on it, and if they want to enter the dungeon, they need to rely on their strength to compete with him. At this statement, Su Yang wondered, Phantom Cloud? Isn't that the sister guild of Phantom Cloud? It was a coincidence, he thought. Since they all are acquainted, it should be easy to negotiate. He then jumped down from the hill, saying that he's not planning to let go of this dungeon again. The chapter starts with 2 stupid guys bullying our pretty girl, Gu Sueqian. They mentioned that the stupid piece of shit Wang Fei has got the attention of their biggest shitty leader of the guild. The other creepy thug tried to take advantage of her and said that she should stay and play with them. At this remark, Gu Sueqian took a step back and suddenly a red sword appeared in front of the creepy guy who was trying to grab her. The owner of the red sword was a cool-looking beauty, and her name was Helan. She was a level 61 class 3rd Transformation Ranger sportsman, and she was part of Reigning Guild. She warned the douchebag to watch his mouth or she don't mind cutting his head. To this threat, the crappy guy hid behind their crappy thug boss and yelled, "What is there to be afraid of?" They had a 3rd Transformation class guy also. The guy he was trying to hide behind was Li Zhen. He was a typical-looking, big, crappy thug guy with the big build, who just eats, go to gym, and doesn't have a single bit of common sense of what and when to speak or how to behave in certain situations. He warned the woman to not be presumptuous here. The status window showed that he was also level 60 3rd Transformation martial artist. He was a part of Green Mountain Pavilion Guild. Helan mocked him saying that, "Are you an uncivilized monkey? Or is your brain all muscles not understanding the basic rule of manners?" To this response, the creepy thug clenched his fist and replied, "I only know that those with big fists are the one with the reason." He continued his threat saying, "Do you want to fight?" He stated if they start fighting, then his teammates won't hesitate or spare the little girl she was trying to defend earlier. Helan thought that they are all low-level newcomers, and if they really start messing with those hooligans, they are bound to lose. But if she back down here now, then these guys will not hesitate to take advantage of them later on. She reached to grab her sword and questioned that should she be the first one to strike. In the middle of this commotion, somebody walked toward them and announced that since this place is where the biggest fist rules, he might have some say in it. It was our boy Su Yang announcing his arrival. To this declaration, all the tugs questioned him saying who he is, and Gu Zueqian realized that it was Su Yang. She wondered that she last saw him at the teleportation center, and it's great that he's safe. She further questioned that why is he provoking the big shots from both the sides right now? The good-for-nothing, creepy thug whose name I don't even remember at this point questioned, "How come it is Su Yang again standing in front of him looking for trouble?" Su Yang replied saying, "That's my line. Why are you everywhere, you little fly?" The crappy ice mage was feeling powerful standing beside his crappy guild leader. "Do you have the guts to provoke me like this in front of the 3rd Transformation powerhouse with just a flick of finger he could wipe you out?" The crappy douchebag smirked while making this remark. Li Zhen, the stupid musclehead guild leader, asked Su Yang to be smart and kneel down to beg for mercy. He continued saying maybe he will spare him and leave him as a full corpse. But Su Yang, being the Giga Chad he is, totally ignored the musclehead and asked Gu Kexen that it's been a long time they saw each other. She was a bit stunned, but she responded saying that it has been a long time. This interaction pissed off the crappy ice mage and he yelled saying that how dare Su Yang ignore him. "Do you know each other?" Helan asked Gu Zueqian. She replied saying that yes, they were both classmates before. "Classmates? Then you guys should have transformed together. How dare he come here to provoke us? This is a silver level instance. Are you sure you are not lost?" Helan questioned Lu Fan. "The transformation task for the 2nd transformation requires clearing a silver level instance?" Lu Fan replied in an annoying tone. At this response, Helan was shocked. "2nd transformation? Wait a minute, if this guy really transformed with Gu Sueqian, how come he's level 14 just a few days? How is this even possible? Do you think you are so cool? Acting like a big shot every day, you are just a garbage warrior. If you don't act, you will die, right?" The crappy ice mage prepared his spell in his hand. He continued saying, "If you are so capable, why don't you open your personal information for everyone to see your level?" He asked Su Yang to stop pretending someone he's not. He said his little trick are nothing here, and he is just here to kneel and worship their boss. The status window then revealed that the Ice Mage Wang Fei was level 10 Ice Mage and a member of Green Mountain Pavilion Guild. Looking at the status window, Su Yang had an evil smile on his face and said, "Only level 10? If you were below level 2, I wouldn't even bother, but now." He prepared his spell. The spell he was casting was a dangerous one, and the system window informed that it has death penalty for players. Below level 10, players will drop 2 levels. If the player is below level 2, they will be unable to resurrect. In an instant, he casted his spell, which went straight through the crappy ice mage. Su Yang announced, "Go back to the city and soak in the spring water." The attack was so big that it pierced right through the mage and knocked his HP 0% in an instant. The status window informed that he has successfully defeated a level 10 ice mage, and he gained 100 experience points in return. The other members of the guild ran toward the defeated crappy ice mage while calling his name, and the crappy muscle-head guild leader launched an attack towards Su Yang, which he dodged without any effort. The crappy muscle-head guild leader then mocked Su Yang, saying, "Ambush! How dishonorable." He announced that Su Yang will not be able to get away unscratched after killing his team member. Su Yang took out his sword and said that, "Depend upon the ability of the guild leader." He also pointed toward Helan, saying that if she wants to join in, she can, and that way he will not have to go through the same process later on. This comment pissed Helan. She replied saying that who gave him the courage to challenge 2/3 transformation professionals at the same time. She questioned, that is he too arrogant, even if he is friends with Gu Suixian, she can't let him go off lightly. She then suggested to Musclehead that they should put aside their issues and teach Su Yang a lesson. The Musclehead leader agreed with her and jumped toward Su Yang for a left punch. He launched multiple punches toward our boy Su Yang, but he dodged all of them with no effort. How can this kid be so fast? I don't believe it. Thunder Tiger Fist. He launched another attack towards Su Yang, but to his surprise, Su Yang blocked his final attack with the sword, and with the swift motion of his sword, he threw him away into the edge of the valley mountain. While he was dealing with the crappy thug guild leader, Helan sneaked up on him and launched the attack, but to her surprise, her attack was blocked by the shield. You are ambushing too? The morality of this batch of third transformation professionals is lacking. Su Yang mocked Helan with this remark. The notification informed that he was using a one-time scroll that generated a shield barrier which was capable of withstanding a total of 80,000 points of damage. Helan was wondering that the sword strike just now barely even scratched half of the shield value. The shield is definitely an advanced shield scroll, and the weapon Su Yang is using does not look like a silver tier, it may be a gold or even a platinum tier weapon. She wondered that the way he killed the ice mage earlier in an instant was so fast that she could barely see it. She kept her guard up. She wondered how could Su Yang fight like this and who exactly is he? The crappy thug guild leader was pissed that he got beaten by a kid's attack. You are not getting away. I won't rest until I have killed you, he replied in an angry tone. But before he could finish his sentence, Su Yang already had his next attack ready. He replied saying, I have already said I am in a hurry, so disappear, and he launched a big fire attack toward the musclehead thug. A huge fire appeared as the aftermath of the attack. You have defeated level 16 martial artist Li Zhen, the status window informed. He also gained 3125 experience points. With the cool pose and sword on his right shoulder, he asked Helan if she still wants to fight. Helan instantly put her sword away and replied, How can we even fight now? That's good then. After all, we are sister guilds. I don't want things to get too ugly. Su Yang replied while walking toward the portal. Helan was confused at this statement. Apologize to your guild leader for me? I will take down this dungeon first, Su Yang replied while walking into the dungeon portal. The notification window then appeared showing Su Yang's information. He was level 40 magic warrior, and he was a member of Phantom Cloud Guild. Another notification informed that he has entered the Cabin of Pain dungeon, and his transformation task has now began. The level required to clear this dungeon was 20 to 40, and the party limit was 1 to 8 people. Su Yang was inside the dungeon, walking in a cave with big crystals popping out of all the walls. He thought aside from the Black Dragon Fortress, this was the first dungeon that he has ever entered officially. He also remembered that this dungeon is supposed to be the lair of goblins. While he was thinking this, someone aimed an arrow at him. Only one monster? Su Yang questioned. It was a level 35 evil goblin who was about to fire his arrow at Su Yang. He took out his sword and deflected the arrow easily. He thought that as a first dungeon mob of his life, it felt pretty pathetic. As he was underestimating the goblin, another goblin jumped from behind him while trying to stab him. Su Yang detected the goblin in a nick of time. He grabbed it from the neck and then threw it toward the other goblin. Before both the goblins can recover from this, Su Yang launched a sword slash toward them, killing them in an instant. He was rewarded +549 and +537 experience for both the goblins. Su Yang thought that there was a sneak attack by a straggler goblin, and this dungeon was a bit sinister. If he was not fast enough, he might have been in a trouble. He reflected that previously he relied on mostly his attributes to overpower the enemy. But if he encountered stronger opponents in the future, he will have to use skill to determine the outcome of the battle. He summoned his Demon Blade skill, saying that he will practice it during this dungeon raid. While he was walking, 2 more goblins launched an attack at him from behind. He transformed his Demon Blade skill into a shield and deflects their attack. Then he transformed the skill into a hammer and crushed both the goblins in an instant. He dealt with a couple more goblins by using his skill as a bow and arrow. Then he got tired of killing all the goblins one by one and defending himself. He started running through the dungeon, and all the monsters came out of their hiding spot and started chasing him. He was about to reach the boss room, so he thought it would be best to take care of the monsters before encountering the boss. Su Yang then transformed his skill into a longsword and launched it at the monsters. He was happy that this skill was so versatile that it can be used as both long and short-range attacks and defense. He was looking forward to the new 5-star Transcendence skill he will get after completing this mission. All the monsters were killed in a single attack by Su Yang, and he gained a bunch of experience. The boss monster then appeared in front of Su Yang. It was a Ice Frost giant tiger. It was a level 40 boss monster of this dungeon. Su Yang was not impressed by this monster, but he found the design of this monster quite funny. He figured that the dialogues of this boss monster were also fixed. The reason was that because it was a boss below Starlight level, and these bosses does not have their own consciousness and act on predefined patterns. He then launched his new attack and killed the boss monster without any effort. The system notification then informed that he has defeated the silver tier dungeon boss, Ice Frost Giant Tiger. He gained 6321 experience points. Another system notification informed that he has successfully cleared the silver tier dungeon solo twice. After encountering the boss, he killed it within 3 minutes, 1 of 2. Su Yang boasted, saying it was an instant kill, no need for 3 minutes. He then started walking toward the dungeon exit to start his next raid in New Dungeon. When he exited the dungeon, Helene and Gu Suekian were hiding behind the rocks. "Why are you hiding so far away?" "I am not going to eat you," Su Yang questioned. "Don't mind us, just go your way," Helene replied. He said bye to both of them and left. Helene thought that he only took 5 minutes to clear the dungeon known as the Underworld. She wondered what kind of monster Su Yang is. Gu Zuexian wondered that not long ago they went to school together, but now it feels like they no longer in the same world. Multiple system notifications popped. You have defeated the silver tier dungeon boss Blood Boil Orc. Another system notification informed. He also gained plus 187 experience. Another system notification informed him that he has successfully cleared the silver tier dungeon solo twice. After encountering the boss, he killed it within 3 minutes. 2 of 2. 5-star Transcendence mission completed. With this, Su Yang completed his mission. But to his surprise, another interesting notification appeared. Detected perfect completion of 5-star Transcendence mission series. Hidden Transcendence mission unlocked. Hidden mission, he wondered. He confirmed the mission, and the system informed him that he has to travel to a marked location, and there is a terrifying beast lurking. It seems like it is guarding something. An addition reward to clear this mission is 5% increase in all attributes and a special class, Battle Mage Legendary Skill Book. Su Yang was happy because just the 5% increase in all attributes was a very tempting reward. He was getting a legendary skill book on top of it. Based on the task description, there will be a second phase to this mission. He wondered about the incredible value of the 5-star Transcendence mission. He confirmed the mission instantly. The target area of the mission was an advanced wilderness area of Tianling City, where the average level of monsters were over 40. According to his calculations, the terrifying beast that system mentioned must be over level 50. To defeat this monster, Su Yang decided to unlock Starlight Grade weapon. But to use a diamond, grade or higher weapon required a Grandmaster Blacksmith, which can socket a boundless gem into it. There is no one like that in the Dongling City. Then he remembered that a branch of the Celestial Mechanism Pavilion is in Tianling City. They also sell various kind of information. He decided to visit them as they are also a part of the X Alliance. He wondered how they will react to his X Alliance Black Gold membership card. The scene changes to the city of Tianling, where Su Yang was standing, and wondering that it was incredible that so many people gather in the city to purchase the strategies. He thought it was truly a testament to the leading strategy group. He admitted that he was feeling a bit nervous while walking into the building. He joked, saying that he just sold their items and officially ascended to the rank of a new rich person. He was feeling embarrassed due to this. Upon entering the building, there was a long line at the reception desk, and people were arguing with each other, and receptionists were trying to keep people calm and wait their turn according to the number they have been provided. Lu Fan amazed by such a huge crowd in reception desk. While looking around, his gaze fell upon someone familiar. It was Zhou Tai and Liu Qi. He was a bit shocked that he ran into them so quickly they were walking somewhere. Liu Qi, who we know as the crappy thug, was urging to Zhou Tai about his lost weapon. He said, can the loss of his weapon be reimbursed? According to him, it was a Starshine level weapon. In response to this statement, Zhou Tai said that having caused Chen Lun's downfall, the headquarter has been lenient and had not troubled them, but more did he wanted from them? Frustrated by this situation, Liu Qi kicked the garbage bin which was nearby him while yelling that he had to grind for months again to get the weapon. By the twist of fate, the garbage bin flew straight toward our boy Su Yang. He caught the incoming garbage with his left hand and said, "Who's the uncultured one throwing things around?" in an annoying tone. Hearing this, Liu Qi got angry and questioned our boy that if he had a problem with that. In response, our Giga Chad boy said that, of course he has a problem. He questioned that being high level mean that the thug could do whatever he want. He grabbed Su Yang from the shirt and yelled that, how can a mere 40-level newbie dares to talk back to him? He was super pissed and said that he can do whatever he wants here. He argued that whether Su Yang believe it or not, he can kick him out of here anytime. Hearing all this, Su Yang had a smile on his face which pissed the guy even more. He questioned Su Yang why was he laughing. To all this, Su Yang thought of getting his revenge next time this crappy guy entered the Black Dragon Sanctuary. He thought he will wipe him out. Zhou Tai, being the mature guy, stopped Liu Qi immediately and told him to mind their image a bit. He said it was a trivial matter and urged both of them to not hold on to it. But by this time, Su Yang was already annoyed and questioned, what kind of treatment was this? He questioned, was this how the esteemed Tiangi Pavilion treats their guests? He affirmed that he was disappointed. Hearing this, Zhou Tai got annoyed and said that they are high-end strategy group here, and they don't sell strategies for dungeons at his level. Liu Qi added saying that Zhou Tai should not waste his words on this kid and watch him kicking this kid out with one foot. Su Yang instantly took his black card out and held it with 2 fingers, while both of them were staring at him with killing intent. Being a dumb idiot, Liu Qi slapped the card out of Su Yang's and questioned him. Was that trashy card supposed to scare him? Su Yang was amazed at the level of stupidity of this guy. He wondered, that doesn't this idiot even recognize the value of the card? The flicked card, that landed at somebody's feet. It was Grand Steward. Zhou Tai questioned that why the Grand Steward was here, and the idiot Liu Qi said that he was looking forward to the arrival of the Grand Steward. The notification window then informed that the guy's name was Jia Yue, he was level 120, and the Grand Steward of First City, Yongfeng City. He was annoyed by the current scene. He picked up the card from the ground and walked toward the idiot, Liu Qi. Without saying anything in the next moment, he delivered a super extra special Giga slap on left cheek of the idiot Liu Qi. The idiot fell on the floor due to the slap and questioned, what is he doing? He reminded him that he was his brother-in-law. The Grand Steward totally ignored him and walked toward our boy, Su Yang. While handing him the card back, he welcomed him as esteemed VIP and introduced himself as the Grand Steward of Yongfeng City. He further apologized for the trouble subordinates have caused him. At the statement, our boy brushed it off, saying that it was no issue. He also wondered why such an important figure was welcoming him. The Grand Steward then looked at Su Yang and asked him, at such a young age, he already possesses the Black Gold membership card of the X Alliance. Could it be that he has completed the 5-star class transfer mission and obtained the VIP privileges of the class transfer temple? Su Yang responded in agreement. Then he ordered Zhou Tai and the idiot Liu Qi to treat this distinguished guest properly. Zhou Tai responded saying, "Yes, Grand Steward." The idiot responded in, "Huh?" The Grand Steward then announced that he will be taking his leave now. He grabbed the idiot Liu Qi from his cape and started dragging him behind while saying that he wanted to talk with him about the next dungeon. The idiot Liu Qi was screaming like a little child, saying that he can walk on his own and he does not have to drag him like that. He pointed towards Su Yang and said that he will get back at him. Su Yang just waved bye to him. Hearing about the next dungeon, he thought the next dungeon already. Does the Tianji Pavilion have a new move? While he was lost in thought, Zhou Tai asked, what can he do for him? In response, Su Yang asked that he would like to know the whereabouts of the master-level blacksmith in the city, and if they have unbound gems here. He mentioned that the treasure pavilion ran out, and he would like to buy a few more. Zhou Tai responded, saying that information is not a problem, and they have the unbounded gems, but they are expensive. Stopping him. Midway his statement, Su Yang flicked his fingers, saying anything that can be solved with money was not an issue for him, and instantly a bag full of gold landed in front of him. Seeing the big chunky bag of gold, Zhou Tai said that he would have someone to assist him, or rather, he will personally retrieve all the stuff he has requested. He asked our boy Su Yang to wait for a moment. At this response, Su Yang thought that Zhou Tai was quick to change his face. Truly a salesman. While waiting for his stuff, Su Yang thought that Yongfang City was the capital of this region, and even the Grand Steward was so respectful. He was now even more curious about the background of the temple. After getting the information and his goods, Su Yang was checking the mini-map and wondering that Old Wolf Forge was a master-level blacksmith, and he was hiding in such an inconspicuous place. He said it was all right decision to entrust Taijin Pavilion. Then he got distracted by some other people who were talking around. You are saying the exploration team is preparing to go to the Black Dragon Sanctuary again? Is that true? People have died in there, and they still dare to go? The other person responded, saying I have only heard about it, but everyone is too scared now, there's hardly any response. The first person then responded, saying that he thought as much. Not even for $100 billion would he go. Hearing this conversation, Su Yang thought that, as expected, Chen Lun's death has dealt a huge blow to the morale of the exploration team, and they probably want to come again for a while. He thought that it's better to subdue the Black Dragon sooner rather than later, to avoid any complications. The scene then changes to the shop, where Su Yang asked that he was looking for Mr. Guyong while entering the shop. There were two beauties and a bald man working in the background. The beauties instantly looked towards Su Yang. Both the beauties were from Yuyun Guild. One had white hairs and pink eyes, and the other had pink hair and shades. According to the system notification window, the name of the pink eyes girl was Murong Shui, and she was level 95. The other girl who was wearing shades, her name was An Yu. She was level 92. Su Yang greeted them saying, "Hello, sisters. Are you here to get your equipment done too?" The pink-haired girl. An Yu instantly rushed at Su Yang, which scared him a little. She loudly asked him, "That was he the new brother who joined? How old is he? Does he have a girlfriend? Does he like older sister?" Wow. Look at this speedy lady asking all the right questions. Maybe she's going to be the next in the line to be a waifu. I hope she becomes one because she is pretty well-rounded. You know what I mean. The white-haired girl grabbed her face and pushed her back while saying, "Su Yang, right? This is a master-level forge. You don't need to come here at your level. Just go to the blacksmith shop on Commercial Street." Hearing this, Su Yang sighed. This is the second time today I have heard something like this. Sometimes I really don't feel like explaining. Then he waved his hand saying, "Is my weapon qualified to be here?" It was the dagger and gem. Both of the ladies were stunned after looking at the items. This couldn't be. A Starshine level weapon? The pink-haired girl added saying, and a complete unbounded gem. Each one is worth several hundred million. Looking at the items, the blacksmith was intrigued. It's been a long time since I have seen such a fine weapon, he said while looking at the dagger. Su Yang then passed both the items to the master, saying that he entrust it to him. Holding the dagger in his left hand, the blacksmith turned into Super Saiyan, which caused his shirt to be ripped apart. He affirmed Su Yang saying that he can rest assured and he will pour his life work into strengthen this weapon, and he will not disappoint him. The blacksmith started hammering the dagger, and sparks began to fill the room. He continued his hammering process without paying any attention to his surrounding environment. But the two ladies were amazed by the beautiful sparks flying around. The white-haired girl was looking at the sparks with puppy dog eyes. She speculated that the stars were the result of the enhancing process of Starshine tier weapon. She said that it was her first time witnessing such a marvelous scene. The girl with pink hairs and shades also added, saying that the scene was splendid. But to their dismay, when they looked toward our boy Su-yang, he was sitting at the bench with blank, unimpressed face. Both the girls thought that he is unimpressed because he seemed familiar with these kinds of spectacles. The pink-haired girl noticed the other girl looking at So-young and questioned her teasingly, saying that she has been staring at Su-yang intently. She questioned, that was she starting to like him? And this question, the white-haired girl got surprised and rejected the acquisition, saying that she was just lost in the thought. Countering this argument, the pink-haired girl said that it was pretty rare to see her distracted. The white hair shouted at her, saying that this was enough. Su-yang was overhearing the conversation, and he was contemplating his decision of choosing this guild. A few hours later, the process was done, and the blacksmith announced that he has successfully finished the weapon, and it was looking amazing. Looking at the weapon, Su-yang was amazed and thought that this was truly a work of a master, and he also completed it in one go. He thought that last time he tried, he wasted so many materials. He asked the blacksmith master that how much does he owe him for the work. In response, the blacksmith said that he had to put a lot of effort in the weapon, and normally he would charge 1 billion in the fee. But today he felt particularly invigorated, and he will make an exception and do it for free. Hearing this, the pink-hair girl questioned that a grandmaster level forging for free? She was amazed by this event. Su-yang, in response to the blacksmith master, said that he wouldn't dream of taking advantage of an elder. And he mentioned that the money is easy to come by, but a master like him is hard to find. He urged him to accept the 1 billion in fees. He said he will be visiting him often. At this gesture of goodwill, the blacksmith gave thumb up to our boy and said that he got guts, and he will accept the payment and look forward to his next visit. Looking at this interaction, the pink-haired girl was starting to fall in love with our boy Su-yang. He mentioned that he not only passed up every opportunity, but also spent 1 billion and he's still smiling. She questioned, that was this the composure of a tycoon? Her face was getting all red. The white-hair girl questioned that could he truly be the young master of an S-tier guild. The scene then changes to the outskirts of Tianling City, the Wild Spirit mountain range. The level recommended to visit this area was 40 and above. Su-yang was standing on a tree branch while scouting the area and looking at a volcano. He mentioned that this area was indeed for those above the second transformation. He started distributing start points to face the challenges ahead. The Shadow Bloodlust scale required 300 points in speed and spirit, so he added all those points and then distributed all the remaining points to other stats. With this, he was all prepared to face any challenges ahead. He mentioned that with his current strength, he can easily drive away 4th transformation powerhouse. He consumed 1 meditative elixir, which permanently increased his spirit attribute by 50 points. 2 swift elixirs, which permanently increased speed attribute by 50 points. Elixir of celestial speed, which permanently increased speed attribute by 100 points. After preparing the best he can, he jumped from the branch into the darkness and started falling down. During his fall, 2 monsters attacked him. One was a level 45 Wrathbat, and another was a level 44 Resentful Soldier. To deal with these monsters, Su-yang activated his Shadow Form skill, which consumed mana for a short period of invisibility, and provided him with 60% increase in the speed. With this increased speed, he took care of both the monsters, without even breaking a sweat. He was amazed that the most basic warrior skill Double Slash, empowered by a Starshine tier weapon, exhibits such strength to kill high-level monsters in one attack. He landed on the ground, and as he stood up, he was surrounded by a lot of beasts. Looking at the situation, he said that he's not planning to push through the map, honestly. He was going to use the old method and blast through it in one go. After saying this, he simultaneously used a lot of scrolls, which caused a major blast in the area. The blast was visible from very far away. Su-yang then walked into the cave, saying that this was the cave of Terrifying Beast. Given the mission's design, He assumed that the monster will be level 50 or higher. He wondered how many hits the monster would be able to take from him. He went into the cave and there were no lesser monsters on the way, and finally he reached his destination. There was a lot of light coming from a section of the cave which led him to the area of the boss monster. Upon entering, Su-yang saw that the monster was sleeping in the middle of Big Cave. It was a hideous-looking beast. The system window informed that it was a mutated beast that devoured an unknown chunk of flesh. It was level 55 and belonged to the undead race. Su-yang was confused because, apart from the level and name, there was no information visible about the monster. He thought that he needed to buy a higher-tier skill book for clairvoyance. He prepared himself, saying that one must never underestimate a boss with unknown information. He prepared for a tough battle and launched an attack on the monster by using the Shadow Form skill. The attack dealt 522281 damage to the beast. Su-yang successfully used Wraithmark skill, and his dealt damage was increased by 300%. Experiencing Su-yang's attack, the beast roared in pain. Looking at the beast in pain, Su-yang muttered, "As expected, it can't be taken down in one hit." After noticing Su-yang, the beast instantly launched an attack toward him, which Su-yang dodged effortlessly by jumping into the air. He also launched a counterattack in the form of multiple slashes. He didn't want the beast to recover, so he took out his sword and launched a sword slash at the beast. To his surprise, the notification window informed that he had successfully slain the mutated beast that devoured an unknown chunk of flesh. He also gained 4,321 experience. Su-yang was dumbfounded by the sudden death of the beast. I think he was hoping for a tougher fight, but at this point, he is too OP. As a reward of killing the mutated beast, he obtained an aged key and an unknown rotting chunk of flesh. The system informed that the aged key seems to be very old with mottled marks. Will be used to open a certain door in the future. The unknown rotting chunk of flesh was very powerful once, and now its power has been dissipated. It's a symbol of decay, and its origin is unknown. Su-yang thought that the key was mentioned in the mission, but he was confused about the rotten flesh. The description hinted that its owner was immensely powerful, even with its might have gone. The flash was powerful enough to mutate the beast. He grabbed both items, saying that he will put these aside for now and return to submit the class change mission. The scene changes to inside the temple. Multiple system notifications informed that the inspection was complete in the class change mission was successfully completed. His base attributes increased by 25%. He also obtained the exclusive passive skill for magic warriors, named Dual Spirit Enhancement. It was a skill that increases the spirit attribute by 10% of the strength and increases strength attribute by 10% of spirit. As the hidden mission was also complete, Su-yang received additional rewards. 5% increase in all attributes, a special class magic warrior, 1 legendary skill book. Due to his successful completion, the level cap was unlocked and the reserve experience was used, and his level goes from 40 to 58. He also gained 360 attribute points. He instantly distributed all those points evenly between strength and spirit. His strength attributes rose to 539. His speed attribute rose to 407. His spirit rose to 591. Su-yang was amazed by his terrifying base attributes. He mentioned that his base attributes have already completely crashed those of the third transformation professionals. If he includes equipment attributes, he is fully capable of facing against the spirit hunters. He was excited, thinking of defeating a fourth transformation while being a second transformation warrior. Su-yang thought that with the double attributes, mixed damage combined with that mark, his strike could likely be too much to handle, even for a platinum deer dungeon boss. He was truly amazed by these legendary skills. The notification window then showed that he was a magic warrior with the legendary skill Dual Destruction Blade. The scale merges the magic blade with the currently equipped weapon. It consumes half of the mana to launch a powerful attack, which deals 200% strength attribute damage plus 200% spirit attribute damage. The priestess then congratulated Su-yang on completing the 5-star second transformation. She informed him that his VIP benefits had also been officially updated. The previous monthly 10 million was now increased to 50 million per month. The discount rate for the X-Alliance Black Gold card also increased from 20% off to 30% off. The priestess then questioned Su Yang about his next plan. Su Yang said that he's bit tired these days and he plans to rest for 2 days. He mentioned that it was important to balance work and leisure. The priestess agreed with his statement and said that it was indeed very important to rest. Su Yang then thought the rest doesn't mean doing nothing at all. He will take some time to visit Tianji Pavilion to buy some things and then prepare to kill the Black Dragon. With this, the chapter ends here. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button as today's like goal is 1,500 likes. Comment part 8 down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. You can also join the channel to support me financially and watch videos before public release. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.